Hello, y'all. Welcome to episode 20 of Punch the Air podcast. As you can see, we got a little different crew tonight. I'm going solo dolo in here by myself, and then we got the double Zoom. We got, Big E, Ethan Davis. Welcome again. Pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
And then we got
Thank you.
Aaron Powell as well. He has been on before, but unfortunately, difficult difficulties. The video did not get uploaded. But, Aaron, thanks for coming in again. I'm glad to be here. How y'all doing tonight?
Good. We've got a redemption video for Aaron in the building tonight, so that's good. Got a little redemption video. There you go.
Yeah, happy to be back. Nice Monday evening. We got Thanksgiving coming up.
That's right.
Big slate of Thanksgiving games coming up.
Yeah.
So.
Big
a lot
slate,
of football.
Big slate.
Fantasy playoffs coming too.
Yep, and I continue to donate to the Lockley Fund continuously week after week. Just cannot seem to avoid it. So it's just one of those things. Might as well be a UNICEF monthly bang out of my bank account at this point. So
hey, you're donating to a very good cause here. I'll say your money is in good hands.
I guess I'm helping out the cause. So that's all that
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
But all right, yeah. So we got another juiced up NFL segment here today. Pretty much just going NFL heavy until the season's over. But on the slate, we are going to be touching on the Vikings again. Some Vikings-Cowboys talk from that game. Obviously, we're going to touch on Zach Wilson and all of the shenanigans he is proceeding to show the Jets. Some AFC East talk, a would you rather. We're going to hit on the Giants. Talk about some teams with the worst future outlook in the league currently. And then we also have to touch on the Bears and what they're doing to Fields right now, if he's going to last in this league. Russell Wilson, Denver, are they washed or not? Who really knows at this point? Our sleeper team for the playoffs in the AFC or NFC. And then we also have a worst quarterback draft. We did the worst coaching draft last week. This week, we're going to go to the quarterback edition. And then to wrap it all up, we have our Week 12 against the spread picks. But first up on the slate, the Vikings. The Vikings have been some talk in this season for quite some time. After beating Buffalo last week, going 8-1, then coming to Dallas, everyone was ready to put Minnesota as this gauntlet of a team in the NFC. I've never been high on them. I still stand by that, obviously, and I think it's funny that a lot of the people in the TikTok comments say about the Vikings, oh, well, they're 8-1. Well, sometimes your record doesn't really mean shit when you take a deeper dive into it. But let me ask you all this. After the Cowboys just absolutely annihilated Minnesota, they beat them 40-3. They dominated every phase of the game. The Vikings looked like a JV football team going against Allen High School's varsity team.
They looked so fucking bad.
They looked really bad. Yep. Are the Vikings, was this just a fluke for the Minnesota Vikings? Are they actually a good team? Are they not a good team? I mean, they are still 8-2, holding the 2 seed in the NFC. What's the deal with them right now?
I'll let Mr. Aaron go first on this one, get his redemption in real quick, and then I'll piggyback off of his. So,
what I'll say is shout out Cole. You called this on the video saying that the Vikings were frauds. Yep.
Been adamant about it. Putting up with all the hate from it too. People, all those Vikings fans giving you shit. Now they can eat shit. How about that?
Yep.
We are.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest issue with this team is they have a giant gaping hole literally on the offensive line. The Cowboys got penetration all game. I can make all the jokes you want about that. But, giving up 7 sacks, that Cowboys defensive line. Clearly, the Cowboys have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. It's not really that shocking that they were able to produce 7 sacks. What's shocking is just that the Vikings were able to win so many games with an offensive line that was this bad. Give a lot of credit to them for finding out ways to pull out tough wins. But, without a solid offensive line, you're going to get exposed come late in the season. You're going to get exposed come playoff time. They're never really going to be able to compete on, a scale of competing for Super Bowls without that solid offensive line. They don't have it right now. You see they have all the skill position guys. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Adam Thielen. You got Dalvin Cook. You can have all they just traded for TJ Hawkinson. You can have all the skill position guys that you want. But if there's no offensive line, you can't put teams out. You can't rely on your run game and paying all this money to Dalvin Cook for fucking nothing. So
Yeah.
they got exposed, and you know, that's the big gaping hole as to why they are
Mm-hmm.
frauds.
I agree with a lot of that. And I think also too, something though you mentioned like the run game and the O line. I saw a lot about how the media itself was just praising like the Vikings O line against for what they did against the Bills, which in reality, Dalvin Cook's 100 yards, 80 of those came on one play. And he still had like over 15 carries, I think. So throughout the game, he was getting about 1 or 2 yards a carry. And then finally, by the grace of God, and clearly there was some graces of God in that game alone itself. Something was going on in the air that night. So he busted one out. He has the ability to do that. I'm not saying he doesn't, but the offensive line showed that for a while until that play happened, there was pretty much no effort in getting the run game going. So they're struggling right now. And I think also, it's all crazy stats today. I think they're either the only team or one of 3 teams ever to have an 8-2 record and then have a losing scoring margin. So they actually have more points scored against them than they have points scored for them, yet they're 8-2.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of, I think, says a lot because I think, last year we talked about the Eagles and how everyone was saying they really weren't a good team. They got gifted with a good schedule. I think that's kind of what's happening right here with the Vikings. They had a pretty easy schedule to start off the year. They had some close games, which you've seen, given the situation this year, they've shown that they can sometimes play well in a close game if it's, a lesser competition. They did well against the Bills, but I will say the Bills have been struggling of late in late game situations in general as a team. So I don't really know how much that bearing really has on me still. And because I still didn't see a lot out of the Bills this week against the Browns to where I'm thinking they're for sure back in the picture, in my opinion. I still think they got some work to do. But with all that being said, there's a lot of outliers with this team and a lot of things that, you can say, oh, they have this, they have that. But then there's also just some simple things like offensive line play. They do have Darius Smith who's getting a lot of pressure, but the back end is still lacking. They're really kind of, in a way, they're making lucky plays in big situations, which I think is something that's kind of pushed them up into winning these close games this year. When you're playing those bad teams, you can afford to have mistakes like that and then win games. But against, good teams like the Cowboys and then other games, you can't really do that. And, I think if they caught the Bills early on in the season, not the Bills that have been playing the past 4 weeks, I think they would have absolutely gotten shit on. So with that being said, I like to kind of classify them as being sketchy. I don't think they're a fraud because I think they're making the playoffs still because of their record. But I think they're sketchy because I have no faith in them come playoff time at all. So I think sketchy is a good word for it because the record's there, but the quality and that's not. So that's where I would say it's sketchy for me as a team.
Yeah. Real quick before you touch on this, Cole, I just want to highlight Ethan's point about the scoring margin. Just to be exact, 229 points scored to 231 points scored against. So to be 8-2 and have that negative
so doesn't make sense.
Negative. And I mean,
pretty incredible.
When's I mean, I feel like if I don't know the numbers on it, but any team that's negative, even though it's negative only a couple points or whatever, any team that's usually either at 500 or you have a losing record, like that stat, and then plenty more. That just like glares like a regression. Like there's nothing else that glares a regression. Yeah. And like I said, like everyone on TikTok, everyone on YouTube's like, oh, like they're 8-1, like give them their respect and shit. It's like, no, I'm not going to give them their respect when they are not dominant in any aspect of the game. They're not top 10 in literally any stat in the NFL. And they have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback when it's all said and done, when you really break it down.
Right.
And the Cowboys just absolutely exposed them. Yes, like you said, sketchy.
Really just fucked with them the whole game.
You could put it in all those terms. They're all valid. They're all correct. But, yeah, ultimately this is going to be a team come playoff time. They might win a playoff game, but they're not making a deep run. And if they somehow do, it's not because of their otherworldly talent and their young, great head coach and Kevin O'Connell. It's because the NFC is as weak as it's ever been in recent memory. And they're absolute frauds. I'm not going to lie. I was just because I'm a Cowboy fan for one, but two, just to see – the Vikings just get absolutely annihilated. Like, they didn't even put up
annihilated.
That wasn't even a game, bro. I mean,
Yeah. And the games they've lost this year, they haven't even been within 21 points really of either of those
No.
games. They lost to the Eagles 24-27. They lost to the Cowboys, what was it, 43-3 or 40-3? Yeah, ass kicking to nothing basically is what I kind of read it as. So when they lose, it's pretty bad. And I think one more thing I'll say about this too is it kind of comes down to who's under center. And boy, is Kirk Cousins a really bad quarterback to have with a shitty offensive line, because he literally has this like he has a spasm, or he freezes, and then when he has the spasm, bad things happen with the ball. And then when that happens, nothing's going to happen, because that team, they love him. Respect, he's your quarterback. They love him. They love when they win and he does well for them. But boy, when they do bad, does he look like the heart of it? Does he look like the heart of it?
And Dallas had 7 sacks on him. I mean, with that pressure and that offensive line, I mean, it's like what we've seen from the Rams all fucking year. Like, if you have a slow statue quarterback and an offensive line that isn't helping him out. And I know they did lose Christian Darrisaw, right? But do y'all know his timeline
they
on
did
his return?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact timeline. I know like the idea is he's not going to be back super quick, but he should be back this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's a guy they don't get back, then it ain't going to get any better anytime soon.
No.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's clear that they just need to draft or go into free agency with that in mind for next year. Because this year, I don't really think there's anything that they could do that would, turn the tides of this year, unless they made some massive trade for, like the Niners did with Trent Williams type of situation. I realistically don't see them doing that. I mean, they've had 3 wins against ranked teams. The Dolphins, the Cardinals, or not even the Cardinals, don't even have a 500-plus record.
Like a top 10 team.
Yeah, the Dolphins, the Commanders, and the Bills are the only 3 teams that they've got wins over, who those teams were over 500. The Dolphins were without Tua when they played.
Yeah,
they beat the Commanders by 3 points, and the Commanders were going through some QB shuffling.
I was about to say. I think Carson Wentz was still like in the fold.
Yeah, I mean that's every win they had. There's something you can nitpick.
Bills was a miracle.
Yeah, and then I mean even like the Lions win. The Lions were down a bunch of injuries. It's like every win they've had. I don't know if they've had a team at full strength in any wins they've had, and they have been one of these teams like usually by this point in the year injuries are just major, but they've been pretty lucky health-wise. All things considered, they've been pretty damn lucky. And I mean, like, yeah, cool. If you're a Viking fan, awesome. Like, your team's 8-2. I know you got steamrolled, but you're pushing the 2 seed right now. You're probably, you're not probably, you are going to win the NFC North. You're going to host a home playoff game. So that's all fun and games. But like when everything matters, come playoff time, like, good fucking luck. Like, straight up, good fucking luck.
Because right now they be hosting the Giants or the 49ers at this point.
They'd be hosting the Commanders. No,
Commanders?
The Niners. The Niners, that's who it is.
Yeah, I think they'd be hosting, depending on how it finishes out, because I don't think they're going to finish with the 1 seed. But, they're probably facing the 49ers or the Giants, because I would assume the 49ers jump the Giants after this week. So, and that's probably a worst case scenario for a Vikings fan matchup wise. You get the 49ers defensive line going at you with Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins, when he has one of his mental breakdowns and has a spasm out there,
good luck.
It's not going to look good. And it's going to be it's going to make the season have a sour taste in its mouth if they get put up against the 49ers. That's what I'll say. It'll kind of be in a way similar to what like happened with the Colts when they blew that game against the Jags. I think if they just got shit on with how good they did this year, I think there'd be a lot of sour taste in people's mouth after that, for sure.
I mean, if we're even talking like potential playoff matchups for the Vikings, it's like I would probably pick them over the Giants, right?
Yeah, I probably would too.
You wouldn't? Yeah. You would take the Giants over them?
No, I just don't think the Giants will even be there.
You don't?
Playoff time,
we'll get to
fair.
that. We'll get to that, but it's probably going to be another mid team that hops them. I think they'd beat Seattle. I mean, we haven't seen Geno Smith in the playoffs, but I mean, outside of those 2 teams, like when we're just using the the current playoff bracket that's week 11, I'm not taking them against Philly. I'm not taking them against Dallas. I'm not taking them against Tampa. I'm not taking them against the Cowboys. Like, I'm not taking them against San Fran. I'm not taking them against any of those teams.
Are you taking them against the Commanders with Chase Young back?
Yeah,
I don't think I would.
I'm taking them against the Commanders.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Taylor
I
Heineke,
honestly
but
just
like even though his one playoff game, he showed
were
out. He
they
did
were
show
they
out.
were close. They were close in the game against the Bucks when they made the run.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all
and
I'll
the
say.
Commanders' defense is
They
starting to heat up a little bit too.
I think Chase Young, it's off subject a little bit, but I think Chase Young changes a lot for that. I guess we'll get into that for playoff stuff,
Yeah.
but I think Chase Young changes a lot
No,
for the
he
Commanders once
does.
they get that motherfucker
He
back.
does. But yeah, ultimately, Vikings sketchy frauds, however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're here to stay. I think this is a fluke in the Matrix, as we've seen. But going to their counterpart, the Cowboys. I mean, how about them boys, baby? The boys look good. I mean, 40-3.
Good.
I mean, Pollard. I mean, not even Zeke, but Pollard popped off. He had, I think, a $119, 2 receiving touchdowns. The defense had 7 sacks. I mean, Brett Maher, for crying out loud, hit 2 60-yard field goals back to back. It was literally a perfect game for a Cowboys fan and for the Cowboys' confidence as a team. Like that's what they needed after losing to the Packers. Now, after that's all said and done, and we've seen them beat the 2 seed, one of these high powers in the NFC. Can the Cowboys make a run at the Super Bowl?
So, here's what I'll say. I've never really been a big believer in the Cowboys, and this is the year talk. I've never have. I will say this, though. For this season alone, compared to past seasons, the past about 10 or so that y'all have been doing this is the year stuff, I would say that this is legitimately the best chance for this to be the year because of how weak the NFC is. But I have to go back to some statistics that are just tried and true to me, and I just cannot get it out of my head whenever I think about the Cowboys in the playoffs. Over the past 25 years, the Houston Texans have a better playoff record than the Dallas Cowboys.
Low, huh? Lump us in
Yes,
with the
I am.
Zans.
And so the only reason I'm saying this is, yes, I think this team has the best chance to make it and to make a run. I do.
Wait,
but I'm a believer in them myself.
What do you mean best chance? Like out of years prior for the Cowboys?
Yes, okay. Like out of the years prior, we say this is a year and all the talk about, being a winning, contending team.
I think their best chance in the Dak and Zeke era?
Yes, I think so. Probably other than their rookie year, I would say this is the best year. But the reason I'm still not putting all my faith into them personally into the playoffs is purely because of I need to see it to believe it in the playoffs with this group before I'm really all in on them come playoffs. And that's just my opinion on it. But I will say, in anyone on the Cowboys side that's against me on this is the better looking team of any of the past Dak Zeke teams that I've seen that actually does have a solid chance, mainly because of how bad the NFC is. So I will give them that, but I'm still not putting my eggs in their basket personally come playoff time.
No, I would not either. And like you said, and we've touched on this, episode and episode again, it's just like the state of the NFC is just so terrible.
So bad.
And the only thing for me is like it's like the same story every year with the Cowboys, right? It's like we're regular season champions, and then come playoff time, it's like, can Dak make that hump, right? And like you said, I'll see it when I believe it. But the thing I did love from this game against Minnesota is they kind of went back to the Cooper Rush offense, right? Let's get Dak 20 to 25 pass attempts, and let's just run the shit out of the ball, keep our defense fresh, and let that D-line do what that D-line does and get after the quarterback. And, like, that's –
And then a big thing – And then a big thing, too, I like was Dak was taking the check down, which sometimes he doesn't really like to do that all the time, in all honesty. And now I think he's realized, sometimes the check down when you got Tony Pollard back there is probably the best option instead of trying to force it down the field to CD when he's not on the same page as you on something. So that's all I'll say about that. He's making better reads when the game's simplified, and he does better when it's simplified.
I think staying on the offensive line front of things, I mean, Cowboys' offensive line has looked immensely better throughout the year. Tyler Smith, I was wrong. I did not know. Yeah, he looks incredibly better. I think that he has a future in this league as a left tackle. He's really proved that over the past, 4 games, I would say. That's a huge step. I do agree with what you're saying, Cole, that like them making the adjustment to say, hey, fuck the big plays. Like we need to just focus on getting Dak in rhythm. We need to focus on getting Pollard the ball in space.
Mm-hmm.
I think that those two combined, I mean, that wheel route touchdown was beauty all
That's
around. The fact that
beautiful.
Pollard caught that ball in stride, the thought that
Pollard's getting
Dak
paid.
dropped that
He's getting
fucking
paid.
basket.
Oh yeah, he's getting a
Oh,
bag.
but this is really like McCarthy. What he's been able to do with this team with Dak being out for so long, and like, I mean, the coordinator hires being able to sell Dan Quinn. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a year to maximize the Cowboys being contenders, it's this year because Dan Quinn is
Mhm.
fucking gone after this.
Yeah.
He ain't sticking around. He's
Yeah,
gonna go be a
he
head
should have
coach
been gone
somewhere.
after last year.
Yeah,
He
and I
should have.
think he's
Yeah.
proven a lot of teams wrong for not wanting to immediately pay him a bag to become their new head coach. Uh, he's shown that he can be a head coach in this league. I thought even when the Falcons moved on from him, I was like, okay, it may be deserved, but he is a good head coach with all the cycling that the NFL does through old retread head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mhm.
got to be at the top of the list amongst those.
I mean, he was that close to a
So
Super Bowl. He was up 28-3
yeah,
against Tom Brady's
Yeah.
Patriots with Atlanta.
best of probably anybody in Falcons history is it making it
Yeah.
that far and almost winning the Super Bowl, one half away. But I mean, I just I would think this is the year. If the Cowboys really think that it's the year, I think that they need to continue stacking on some additions. There's all this talk about getting OBJ. Sure, that would be great. Maybe go out and trade for a defensive back. Find some DB. Well, I guess trade deadline's up, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But Odell is still out there, like you said.
Odell's still out there. I really would have liked to see them get another DB. I think that's the one glaring weakness on the team.
Losing Jordan Lewis was actually kind of a big deal that no one really touched on. I mean, he was
Yeah.
our
He's
start,
like y'all's nickel,
he
right?
was our starting slot corner, yeah, and he was
Yeah.
playing outstanding, and now he's out for the year, I believe, with an ankle injury. But I think the biggest thing for this team is we know what our identity is, and like that was whenever Cooper Rush came in, and he won those. At first, it looked very bleak, obviously, right? Because we have Cooper Rush in there. The team didn't look good to start the year, but I think that the Cowboys found themselves and found their identity once Rush came in, right? By using these running backs, by letting the D-line do their thing. And I'm just hoping to God that they finally recognize this and that they'll just keep using this formula. Because they are one of, in the NFC at least, they're one of the few. There's not many teams in the NFC that have a true identity and they're, true and tried to it. So where it's like, this is how we win games. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to prove it on the field. The Cowboys have done this time and time again. And now we're actually seeing it in real time after steamrolling the Vikings. But it's the offense. It's this running back duo, and I know like Tony Pollard gets all the praise and all that. But Zeke is a great compliment to Tony Pollard. Anyone can say what they want, but I mean he's obviously not what he used to be. Any running back after taking that much wear and tear for 5 years isn't going to be.
Right.
But I think that they are very similar to the Mark Ingram Alvin Kamara duo in 2017 when the Saints went 11-5. And won their division. Not as much on the receiving end, but just to compare some stats here. So Zeke and Tony Pollard on a 16-game pace, they're on pace for 2,090 rush yards, 22 rush touchdowns, 468 receiving yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. Kamara Ingram duo in the 16 games they played put up 1,852 yards rushing, 20 rushing TDs, 1,242 receiving yards, and 5 receiving TDs. And yes, obviously that duo smoked them in the receiving department. But
right.
I mean, the Cowboys.
Kamara's a different type of running back.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kamara's almost,
But beyond that, let me ask you all this. Do y'all think that Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott are the best running back duo currently in the league?
Yeah, I would say yeah, because I mean, if you were to lose one and have to replace him with the other, I don't think there's anyone better than Tony Pollard right now. Other than maybe Jamal Williams. I think Tony and Jamal Williams are probably, if you were to replace someone after losing someone, those are probably my number one go-tos out of any running backs right now.
So Jamal, you're saying if the Lions lost Jamal Williams, they wouldn't be able to replace him?
What I'm saying is, when the Lions lost DeAndre Swift, how Jamal Williams replaced him, and now he's the starting running back now. I'm saying basically if the Cowboys were to lose Zeke, replacing with Pollard, that's probably best case scenario for most people.
Mhm.
Most people probably want Pollard as their RB1 anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
I
You
would
could get away
I would
losing
say
Zeke.
yes. Yeah.
Pollard though is
I would
such
say
an X
yes.
factor. But I mean, who's in the
Exactly.
conversation? I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you got
Nick Chubb
DeAndre
and
Swift, Jamal
Kareem Hunt.
Williams, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's been bad this year though.
Yeah,
They just
and
it's just
that's
been the
why I
Chubb
didn't
show.
say it.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
been. But I'm trying to think of more duos that are in the league right now that are kind of popping off, but
I mean,
there's not
one
much
that
coming
could
to mind.
emerge. We haven't seen a very big sample size of it, but I mean, I don't think that Elijah Mitchell's. I think that he has kind of a bright future, and I mean,
He's a good
we'll
football
see.
player.
Yeah, we'll see what direction the 49ers want to go, but I mean, there's a reason they got rid of Jeff Wilson. Well, Jeff Wilson was putting up good numbers because I
Mhm.
mean, they obviously McCaffrey fits that offense perfect, but I mean, you add in Elijah Mitchell if he runs the ball like he was towards the end of last year. I
He
mean,
runs
that
fucking
could
mean.
become-
He
yeah,
runs
that
Yeah,
could
mean.
become the
They haven't
nastiest.
been. I'm watching the game now. I just have it on like in front of me on like a mini TV. They haven't it's been a lot. They really haven't used a lot of Elijah this week. So I think it's going to be like a game plan type thing, like depending on who they
Yeah.
play. But, whatever the matchup is, like 49ers play Texans or something, you're going to see a lot of Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They may
something
think
like
that
that.
No doubt.
They probably think
no
that they
doubt.
can exploit the Cardinals' fucking pass defense too.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Get those
like you said.
linebackers on him. Yeah. So
Mhm.
they've been using him quite a bit tonight. Haven't seen a lot
Yeah.
of Mitchell.
Yeah.
Makes
But
sense.
they will use him. It's just he's just a perfect,
He's
game
the perfect
plan
complement
fit,
to McCaffrey, kind of just to take
Yes,
the workload
yes.
off of McCaffrey,
Mhm.
get him 8 to 12
And when he's
carries
fresh,
a game, grind down the
him
defense. Yeah.
fresh is
And he
mean.
looked
He's
fresh
a
off
mean
that
runner
injury.
fresh.
He
exactly.
didn't look like he missed a fucking beat by any means.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'll
beyond
tell you
It's gotta-
a dud of a fucking combo, and that's people who thought AJ Dillon was going to be like some star for the Packers.
Man, I just
was-
think the Packers found that run game too late this year. I think that's what they should have been doing the whole entire
they should have been
year.
doing it all year.
And then I think these two would be having amazing seasons instead of one doing really well and one not doing as well, to where it's like, why isn't this guy getting the ball more? When the conversation should be, why aren't both of them getting the ball more at this time of year?
Mhm.
But I think they found that a little too late. But unfortunately, that's why I don't think that combo is as good as it should be. But on paper, that does look pretty scary still, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If executed right.
Yeah.
You put that duo with Shanahan. Oh fuck.
That'd be
That's
dirty.
that's a good point. And I
Yeah,
mean, the
that's
offensive
scary.
line for the Packers is that's the whole thing about all these run game duos is the offensive line. We're starting to realize just how important it is for establishing a run game. I mean,
you got to have it. If
49ers
you don't have it in place, then it doesn't matter who you have at running back.
Yeah. And
exactly.
there's a huge thing too with these teams that run the ball. Most of their practice time is spent on executing their run plays. They probably have some of the most boring fucking practices in the NFL,
Mhm.
but I guarantee you that they are the most sound and most technical on all their run plays and know everything, bottom to everything from top to bottom on zone, scheme, cuts, anything, pulls, all that sort of stuff. They know it, they practice it, and it shows. And that's why these teams that run the ball well do so well, because they practice it over and over and over again. To where once they get out there and you get Trent Williams and that O-line moving people, it's night and day. You thought it was easy in practice. Now it's easy in the game somehow because you practice it over and over. So you don't see that a lot with the Jets. They're working on practice trying to get Zach Wilson comfortable, so a lot of their practice is probably – we'll get to that,
Jesus.
But a lot of their practice is probably trying to get him comfortable with the game plan and everything. When 49ers practice, I bet you – out of like the 50 plays they run in the day, probably 35 of them are all just run plays.
That's what they do.
Yeah, they ram it into your head, and then they show that. They show that in what they do. So, yeah.
Beyond that, one last sleeper duo, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren.
I like Warren.
He's good. Najee Harris had a great game this past week.
Where the hell did he come from? I've never heard of him.
He was
undrafted?
Oklahoma State.
He was undrafted.
Oklahoma State?
He's another guy. He runs violently. He's another guy.
Yeah.
But
just mean. But chip on the shoulder runner.
Yeah. But beyond that, so we'll hop into the Zach Wilson talk now. Yeah, I mean, I had to take a few weeks ago. I compared Zach Wilson to Johnny Manziel minus, the drugs and the alcohol and the hookers and the partying. whatever
Plus
you
the
want to say.
Cougars, though.
Yeah. Plus the Cougars. But
Yeah,
I mean,
Cougars
Jack-
replace Hookers this case, but yes.
Yeah.
But Zach Wilson, I mean, they lost 10-3 against the Patriots. They had more punts than pass completions, 10 punts, 9 pass completions, 6 total first downs, 103 total yards.
77 passing yards.
Zach Wilson went 9 of 22 for 77 yards. And when asked about post-game, reporters said, and I quote, "Do you feel like the offense left the defense down?" And all he said was just no, and then it was cut clip. And then after that, they have an interview with Robert Saleh asking about the offense, and all he goes is, "It was dog shit." But my thing with Zach Wilson is like, he pisses me the fuck off, and that's why I've never liked Zach Wilson. His first 2 years at BYU, he wasn't that good, and the only teams he were beating was Texas State, North Alabama, Troy, these shitty teams where he had all day to throw. And we see now if you can get pressure on Zach Wilson, he completely falters, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And even beyond that, it's like if you were the quarterback for the New York Jets, your defense pitches, 9 innings, gives up 1 run type of deal.
I'd say a shutout.
Yeah, shutout. I mean, 3-3 and a punt return won the game. And you are going to have the audacity to go into the post-game press conference and say, no, it's not my fault, and take literally zero accountability. Even when you have your receivers, you have Garrett Wilson after the game saying something needs to be done here. This is terrible. We have Elijah Moore a few weeks ago saying he doesn't even know what the offense is at this point. When is Zach Wilson going to look himself in the mirror and say, okay, maybe some of this is my fault? I mean, it's literally like, what is he stuck in? He's like a high schooler, bro.
I think that's what's holding him back is his mentality, because you see all these great quarterbacks, when they have bad games, it eats at them.
Exactly.
It literally eats at them for the whole next week.
In a game like that, you're not going to see Joe Burrow go say that. You're not going to see Lamar Jackson go say that. Patrick, any of these good young quarterbacks, besides maybe Kyler Murray, but Kyler's talent gets him over the hump. But you cannot go and say, especially if you're the New York Jets and that's your quarterback out there saying that, how do you even play for this guy? And now they've announced recently, too, that they're looking at changes at the quarterback position. So we might get Big Joe Flacco back in there, too.
So
for any, Garrett Wilson fantasy owners, that's a big boost for you. But what do y'all think about Zach Wilson? I think this is just pathetic all around.
I got quite a bit to say just because I watched Zach Wilson a lot at BYU. Big college football fan. That's like prime sport. But watched him a lot. His offensive coordinator at BYU was Jeff Grimes. Well, when Zach Wilson left BYU for the NFL, Jeff Grimes went and darted over to Baylor. If you look at the offense that he's running right now at Baylor, it was nothing like the offense he ran at BYU. He'd probably disagree, and maybe from the run schemes, I mean, they're probably doing a lot of things similar to what they were at BYU, but a lot of the plays that we saw at BYU from Zach Wilson were, hey, we're going to get you the ball, run around in the backfield, and then throw a 50 or 60-yard bomb to a receiver who's probably going to be open if we're playing against dog shit teams and their coverages aren't good, and I'm going to be able to exploit them. And, I mean, one that doesn't work in the NFL. It's worked out some.
Yeah.
For maybe a guy like
maybe Patrick Mahomes, and even then you've seen the Chiefs have to scale it back for
it's
Mahomes.
It's a much better offensive mind than what Zach Wilson is working with right now in the Jets. I'm not even sure the Jets OC is, but look, Robert Saleh I think is a really good coach. They've been 5-2 with Zach Wilson as their starting quarterback, which is pretty fucking incredible with the stats that he's put up.
Yeah.
So in the 7 games that Zach Wilson has played, he has 5 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, 4 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Okay, so he won against the Dolphins 40-17 in a game where it's like, oh, the Jets put up some points against this Dolphins team. It's a good Dolphins team.
They beat the Dolphins 40-17 this season?
40-17.
What week was that?
And Zach Wilson had 1 touchdown that game, and it was a rushing touchdown. Didn't even have any passing touchdowns. He had what? I think I wrote down 210 passing yards that game. And you look at all the other games. I mean, the other 2 losses that they have being 5-2, both of them come against the Patriots. So what happens is when you have a defensive genius like Bill Belichick they're going to scheme up a way to distract this guy because he's not locked in. He's not bought in, which I don't know how you can't be when you have. I mean, Richard Sherman
Exactly.
called Robert Saleh a leader of men, said that he would make a fantastic coach. I think that Robert Saleh is that. And I absolutely think that Zach Wilson is holding back the Jets. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the last thing I kind of hit on this is that before he was drafted, there was a lot of talk saying, "Oh, this guy wasn't the captain of his team at BYU. What does that mean for his future as an NFL quarterback?" And you had people saying, "Oh, that's bullshit. Like it doesn't matter if he wasn't a captain or not. Look at this guy's talent. He could be good in the NFL. Look at all these other guys who aren't captains who are good."
Mm-hmm.
No, it absolutely fucking matters as a young quarterback.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're the quarterback.
Like
you are the team. You are the franchise.
And then you have stories about, okay, well, you were injured a lot of last year. You show up this year in the off season, you fuck your friend's mom or whatever. I can't remember what the
I think it was his mother's friend.
His mother's friend.
Yeah.
So
even
worse somehow. Fucking
Hey,
kudos to the kid. Go ahead and get you some. Congrats on the sex, but like
you can slay MILFs, but that ain't gonna win you football games at the end of the day.
No, this guy
it's not. It's just not. And then another thing with him too, I think it's like it is that mentality. I think that's what it is, because you get him flustered and you get him off script and anything, out of college, you're like, oh, off script plays, that's where he's at his best. Well, in the NFL, they kind of scheme you up to where they make you think you have something off script. You make a mistake, and then you get fucked. And he's just making rookie mistakes right now. He does not look good back there. And it's just got to be that mentality, because that whole team has bought in, and they're all accountable. They're all bought in. I bet if, Sauce Gardner hasn't had a bad game yet, but I guarantee you there's a game Sauce Gardner gets torched in. I don't think it's going to happen from what I've seen. But if it does happen, I guarantee he's the first one to say, because of his mindset, yeah, I should have played better, that sort of thing. The fact that he just didn't even acknowledge that he could have played better, he didn't have to say, like, he could have said, no, I definitely could have played better, but I don't think that had everything to do with it. That would have still not been the best answer, but at least he would have addressed that his play was not good. He did not mention that at all. He just went about it like he was going through the motions, and that's how it just shows you with everything he's doing this year is that he's going through the motion. So I have no faith in him. I think they need to get a quarterback in there that has all the determination and drive in the world. And then once they get that, I think that team's going to be going, because they desperately need a quarterback.
They got what they need.
Yeah. They got a young core. They got it. Everyone's behind the coach. Now they need is a young core that's not only behind their coach, but behind their young quarterback. And I don't think that young quarterback, Zach Wilson, at all, from what I've seen.
And and you can't make the excuse either that, like even Sam Darnold, for example, when he went to the New York Jets, they were a
George Kittle touchdown.
Never got a fair
fucking
chance.
Monster.
I mean, and that's what happens to a lot of these young QBs is they're adopted into just very bad situations, into bad homes. Father's a crackhead, mother beats him or whatever. But Zach Wilson, weird uncle touching him, whatever it is. But Zach Wilson, like you said, Robert Saleh has proven that he belongs. Their GM has been making great moves. Their defense is very legit. Great drafting recently. Elijah Mitchell, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, the skill position players are great. They're building up the O-line. Everything's there for him to succeed. And the fact that he just cannot even that's in that post-game press conference, that reporter is lobbing you a dunk right there. That's a free alley-oop.
He's waiting for you to say something.
We all know what you're supposed to say is say, yes, I have to play better. I'll look at the tape. We're going to get better. That's it. Instead of just pouting and saying no like that. Oh, God. And imagine if you're, one of these veterans. I mean, they don't really have many veterans, but if you're a CJ Mosley, a veteran on that team, how do you – I don't know how you can get behind that guy. And I think Joe Flacco,
think they are.
I think Joe Flacco is in, because this team they're right now in the hunt. They are trying to get in the playoffs, and Zach Wilson is not getting to the playoffs. No
I don't think Zach Wilson will be successful on really any NFL team. No. I mean, he has all the talent in the world, but I mean, it takes mentality to be an NFL
to be a QB, exactly. And going back
on Drew Lock had a lot of arm talent also.
Oh, yeah. Talent doesn't always matter. And it's in college you can get away with doing that, especially playing at BYU. But in the NFL, it's we don't want you to be a backyard hero. We want to play real offense. We want to run the ball. We want you to hit your checkdowns. make the smart reads, the smart plays, throw the ball away, and he just has not shown he could do that on any level whatsoever.
And these aren't. Here's the thing about the NFL, and a big difference between the NFL and college is pretty simple, but I don't think Zach Wilson's quite figured this out yet. These guys, yes, you want to be friends with your teammate, but these aren't the same as your college buddies. These guys are professionals. They go in there day by day. This is their job. They go about it like it's their life. And, if I'm a backup quarterback and I'm seeing that the piss poor effort that Zach Wilson's putting out there, I would just be sitting in there saying, I guarantee you I can do better than that if you just give me a chance. And they'll work at it and they'll grind at it.
Hell, Mike White is scratching to get in there. He's clawing.
Waiting.
He's itching,
He's
man.
He's waiting to get in there.
Last year. Get Mike White in there.
Yeah,
Get
where he
Flack
threw for 400 fucking yards. 400 fucking yards.
Flacco's still trying to prove his son wrong. I think it's the
exactly.
Shit.
He does.
He
does need to prove his son wrong.
At football.
But it's just one of those things where it's like this isn't your college buddies. This is the NFL. Like these guys are here to execute and perform, and a lot of them too. Part of their contracts come into play where it's performance, it's execution, it's numbers, it's team success. And if you're an offensive player playing with Zach Wilson and you're part of your contract, it has to do with your yardage, your touchdowns, anything like that. Boy, would I be pissed with the type of mentality he's showing on top of all that. He's losing you money, and he doesn't give a fuck about the team at all. I mean,
he's a Disney Channel quarterback.
Yes, if he just gave a reason or some sort of explanation on top of the no he said, still not a good answer. But the fact he just blatantly said no.
I love how it was like no. On what they show us, at least the public, it's no, and then it just cuts off.
It is. So he probably said, yeah, he probably said, no, I don't think so. But he didn't elaborate or anything like that. He just,
no. He's just in there
and
pouting
you know what?
like a little brat.
The lack of accountability. I mean, this is where it becomes the NFL, not college, because your college buddies, yeah, they're going to be there for you all the time. But in the NFL, this is about executing, and the kid's not executing ever now.
I mean, the Jets ownership has proven that they are not very patient people.
Not with quarterbacks. They thought they had one with Marky Mark, and then that backfired real quick. Yeah.
I mean, Marky Mark looks like he was a franchise legend compared to Zach Wilson.
Compare what they've had. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is 100% gone after this season. I don't see any world to where we're going into 2023 opening day and he's our starting quarterback. I just can't. I can't see it at all.
A young team like that needs a young quarterback to get around, and I don't think that's the fucking guy to do it. So that's all I'll say with that.
You're not that guy.
Good luck
pal.
unloading him too.
Yeah, you're not that guy, pal. Yeah. Well, Zach Wilson.
Not that guy, pal.
Zach Wilson,
not that fucking
you're
guy.
doomed. I don't like you. I don't think any of us like. I'm a Jet fan, no one. But anyways, beyond that, the AFC East looking like it might be the best division in football right now. Bills are kind of slacking. Pats got the win over the Jets. Miami's doing their thing. My question to y'all is, who do y'all have winning the AFC East? The current odds are right now, Bills are minus 250, Dolphins are plus 250, Pats are plus 1,200, Jets are plus 1,800. Who's taking this crown in the AFC East?
I'm going with the Bills still. I still think that they have probably the most talented roster in the NFL. Sure, they've been fucking up as of late, but I mean, they're going to get that sorted out. I really just have most confidence in them and how they've built that team. I think that they've done a good job. I really just don't see very many weaknesses with that team. I mean, you're going to have losses in NFL. I mean, can't be perfect. It's not a college football season, but I really like their chances. I mean, I'm surprised the odds are that much against the Pats, given what they've done in the past.
I mean, they're only a game out.
Yeah, and they have, what I would consider as probably either the best or the second best defense in the NFL.
Matthew Judon's making a case for Defensive Player of the Year right now.
Hey, I think he's in the league. He's got 13 sacks on the year. He leads the NFL. The next closest is Michael Parsons with 10. And so, I mean, I think the next up there would be the Pats. I want to see how the Dolphins are going to move forward, but I mean, I just think that the Bills are going to close out strong. We saw what the Bills did to the Pats in that playoff game last year too. So
when you look at their schedules, they're not really easy. I mean, I'm looking at the Bills right now. They have the Lions coming up. Give them that. Then they have the Pats, Jets, Dolphins, Bengals, Pats again, and the Bears. I mean, outside of that Bears and Lions game, I wouldn't say any of those are gimme games. They're going to beat the Jets next time around. They're not going 0-2 against the Jets.
Yeah, no way.
Biggie, who do you got?
You know what? I'm going with the Bills still. I've been kind of against them of late just because they've been playing so bad. But I really don't think they can play any worse than what they have for the rest of the season. So the fact that they have done so bad of late and they're still in the hunt, I think they're just going to get better as the season go on. Gabe Davis is struggling with drops right now. I think that's something he'll improve on. He has all the talent in the world. I think that's something you'll see him improve on as the year goes on because that has been hurting the offense of late in some of those bad games where, some of those catches might have kept drives going.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. But sorry. But yeah, so I'm going with the Bills still, but I am not going to lie. I think the Dolphins are going to finish either with the same record or one game below. I think it's going to be real close. I think that offense is clicking now. They've added a run element to that team now, adding in Jeff Wilson, mixing the speed of Mostert in the passing game a little bit more now. Get him out in more space instead of the between the tackle stuff. Not that he can't do the between the tackle, but better off getting Mostert in that speed out in space. So they've added some elements. They made moves, added Bradley Chubb as well. He's a hell of a player, already making plays for him, already had 2 sacks in his first game with them. So, I think they're going to be pushing them, but I'm still going with the Bills. Just too talented to not wrap up that division.
It's going to come down, in my opinion, to the December 18th game, Miami at Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I think winner of that game takes the division. That's going to be a big one.
But winter time is not the game to hinge.
That's not the game for Tua. Yeah, I mean that's they got these odds at 250. But yeah, who would have thought the Jets and Pats would be a game out here at this point coming into Week 12?
Credit to those coaches, man.
That's right.
Credit to Saleh. So he's the truth.
You can never doubt. Yeah, Bill Belichick's always going to do his thing.
Oh.
But beyond that, we got a good little juicy would you rather segment on the slate here today. We're going to touch on our boy Kirk Cousins here. So I got about, I got 8 quarterbacks. I'm going to ask, would you rather have Kirk Cousins or this quarterback? All right. Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott?
I'm going Dak.
Easy Dak.
I'm going to go Dak as well. Yeah, after that Viking game, I don't know how you can't pick Dak. Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford? It's a tough one.
This season, this season, Matthew Stafford, right?
Right now, if you are dropping this player onto any team,
I'll take Kirk.
Yeah.
So.
It really has to do with just longevity standpoint. I mean, I don't think Matthew Stafford's doing anything for the Vikings that Cousins isn't, and I mean Cousins is.
If it's purely this season, Stafford.
It's not. It's not for the rest of their career. It's this season. I'm taking Stafford for this season. I think if we were to drop him onto Minnesota right now, he would do what Kirk's doing, and then, he's been there. He's won a Super Bowl, and I trust Stafford a lot more in these prime time and close games than I will Kirk.
That's fair.
I would go Stafford, even though
Stafford
he's looked very
so
bad this year. But then again, the Rams
looked really bad.
He's looked
bad. They have some
of
the same kind of problems.
The Rams have been tough this year. I mean, we'll get to the Rams here in a little bit, but all right, another one: Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson. Danger.
Damn it. I hate both of them.
It's funny because a lot of before the season, Stafford.
That would have been obvious.
It's like, duh. But I mean, after what these guys have put up this year, it's a legitimate question to ask here.
I fucking hate Russell Wilson. I'm going Kirk Cousins still. I really don't.
I think I have.
Russell Wilson lost me this year.
We'll
touch on that later.
I think I have to go Russell still. I think I have to.
I'm going to go Russell too, just because I think Russell has definitely lost his curveball or whatever. But I think if you were to put Russell with Kevin O'Connell on Minnesota, he could be doing this, and then come playoff time, even though Russ has been terrible this year, I'm still going to trust him more over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
For me,
yeah.
for a lot of these, it's coming down to like the primetime game. Okay, we need a touchdown. We got 2 minutes left. Like, I need you now. And I know Russell has looked atrocious this year. And you can put as much blame on Hackett as you want. Obviously, a lot of it's on Russ too. But I mean, that offense doesn't have an identity. But I would go Russell. So Biggie, you would go Russell. Aaron, you would go Kirk.
Yeah, that's tough
Kirk.
though. They both suck. But yeah, I'm going Russ.
All right, Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields?
Oh fuck, I'm going Fields. As long as I'm not making him a pocket passer, I'm going Fields. So
I'm gonna go Kirk. I don't know how Justin Jefferson would get the ball in that Vikings offense with Fields in there.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Justin Fields. Yeah, I feel like Justin Fields has it in clutch time more so than Kirk does. So I'll go with Fields.
He hasn't showed it in it time. He's more than 7 in his last 8.
It can't be that bad though. Can't be that bad.
So you're banking on? Are you banking on the potential upside?
I'm banking on
you could have with Fields,
the talent, the arm talent, the athleticism, just like the talent alone. I think I would rather work with that than have to work with Kirk Cousins.
What would that offense look like though if you were to drop Fields on the Vikings?
You would have to make some changes to say that.
Yeah, you have to make some changes, but I think it could still work though. But it'd have to be a lot of RPO. That'd be for fucking sure. So
that's not. Yeah, I mean,
that's a good point.
So.
That's a good point. But if not including like just dropping the team in, just purely if I had to choose one, I would choose Justin Fields. Not including like the scenario of the teams. Just purely if I had to choose one this season, I would.
If you tried to stick Justin Fields into the Vikings' current scheme on offense, wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
If you could tailor fit an offense, I'm taking Justin Fields.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going Fields with that.
Yeah.
I would take Kirk. I haven't seen enough from him passing the ball. That's my main reason. Kirk Cousins or Danny Dimes?
Fuck. I love Danny Dimes, but I'll go with Kirk still. I think it shows when you got to make
Dimes has looked good this year.
Yeah, but I mean, last game when they made him throw it last game, he didn't look that great in the last game. I think if you make them throw the ball, like priority have to throw the ball, I don't think Danny Dimes is as good as Kirk
I'll
would
go
be.
Kirk too.
Yeah, I'll go Kirk on that. But I like Danny. I think he's improved a lot, but I'm still going Kirk.
Yeah, just sticking with Kirk just due to continuity there. I think he's probably a better fit. I don't know. I don't know how great of I guess I haven't watched enough of the Vikings. How well? I mean, I haven't watched a bunch of the Giants. The Vikings offense is heavily predicated on play action passes. I don't know. I think I would trust Kirk more in their careers right now over Danny Dimes in terms of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Kirk Cousins or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh shit. Fuck. I mean,
I'm gonna go Jimmy. I've seen Jimmy get to the Super Bowl. I've seen him make the NFC Championship. I've seen him show up big in big moments, which I have not seen from Kirk. Regular season, 1 or 12 slot, give me Kirk all day. But if we're talking about a team that get the playoffs here, give me Jimmy G.
Yeah.
You got to think too. Jimmy G's played behind an amazing O-line.
There's no doubt about it.
With a great run game
and probably the best offensive-minded coach in the league. There's no doubt about it. But
I've
seen Jimmy show up in big moments. I have not seen Kirk ever show up in big moments. That's my reason.
Dude, they both suck at like the same exact. They suck when they get under pressure. They
Kirk is definitely better.
Definitely work
in an ideal situation.
Yeah.
Like if you could just have a clean slate, I'm just taking that potential it factor in Jimmy.
Yeah, I'll go.
I don't like it one bit, but that's it. That's what I'm going.
I'm going Kirk still because I don't really. I think I'd rather let Kirk sling it out than let Jimmy G sling it out in a game personally. So, like, given say protection's all right for the game, I'd rather Kirk be the one throwing it than Jimmy G. But they both suck getting rushed, so it's like,
they're
I'm going
both
Kirk
statues.
still. Yeah, I'm going Kirk still.
All right, Kirk Cousins. This is honestly funny. I feel like this is the first Would You Rather to where it was so easy for me to pick like player, because Kirk is like the definition of a replacement level quarterback in my opinion. So it's very easy to pick players. But Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff.
Holy shit.
Goff ain't been bad this year.
Yeah, it's fuck. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I'm still going. Kirk on this one, because Goff's had a pretty good O-line, and he's done. I think he's done pretty. I'd say he's done better than I thought he would this year. But
how much better is Kirk than Jared? Is he better than Jared? I mean,
I think Goff is the more talented quarterback to Kirk Cousins, but I mean,
yeah,
he's
I
also
feel
more
like-
prone to fuck ups.
yeah. I feel like Kirk fucks up when he's under pressure, but I feel like Goff sometimes just makes like really just shitty throws
Yeah.
sometimes, and like I don't really see Kirk just make like shitty throws that much unless he's under pressure. Sometimes Goff will just kind of have a shit throw here and there.
Yeah.
I think I'm going Kirk on that still.
Aaron, who are you going?
This is definitely
That's a tough one,
so
though.
far. Yeah.
I mean, I would flip flop them any day, but if I had to choose one to go,
Yeah, I feel like you can flip a coin on it probably.
I guess you stick with Kirk, but I mean, it bears to be said that, I mean, Goff is the more talented quarterback in my opinion. I think that, you take a team like the Rams, why did they ever trade the farm for Stafford in the first place? Was because they said, hey, we need a guy who won't fuck up and will win us the big moments.
Yeah.
And a guy who's going to, have that experience. And I just don't think that Goff has any of those like
Kirk
deeper
has been
intangibles.
Kirk has been clutch as long as it's not like he has been clutch as like in games. It's just as it's when shit hits the fan, like shit hits the fan bad with Kirk. That's all I'll say with that. Like I think Kirk's low is worse than Goff's low, in my opinion, if that makes any sense. Yeah. All right. Like it looks so much worse.
Last one, I feel like this is another tough one. Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill?
Kirk
shit.
Cousins.
Kirk?
Yeah. I think
Easily?
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, what Tannehill's done in Indy with, their offensive line ain't very good anymore, minimal weapons.
Yeah, Tennessee. I'm going
Tannehill can run if need be as well. He can run if need be.
I'm going Tannehill on this.
I'm gonna go Tannehill too.
Yeah, I'm going Tannehill.
I'm gonna go Tanny. I don't love it by any means, but I'm gonna go Tannehill too.
Titans are always in close games. Literally always in close games, unless they.
In all fairness, the Titans don't really have any receivers for Tannehill. Really haven't had very many receivers for Tannehill to throw the ball to.
I mean, they have Robert Woods and Treylon Burks, and then
I'm imagining him on a team with decent.
Austin Hooper was a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't played.
I know. I'm playing
much this year.
He's trash. He's trash.
But I really just don't think that Tannehill is a good quarterback, and I don't think that Malik Willis is either. But I mean, that
Malik
team
Willis looked rough.
Yeah. The Texans gave him trouble.
The last one that I was going to do, but I felt I switched it because I feel like this was obvious, was Derek Carr. I would pretty easily take Derek Carr over Kirk, though.
Yeah, I would take Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr. I think they fucked up by just getting rid of the interim coach from last year. I think that was the fuck up. That whole team was behind that guy.
Bisaccia?
Yeah, they liked him a lot, but
they did.
Yeah, I go Derek still. I go Derek. He had a hell of he looked fucking good last week against a good defense. So he should, yeah.
All right.
But I will say they're both pretty bad when shit hits the fan. They're both shit hits the fan. Everywhere.
And that's why that's like with the Stafford and Russell Wilson and the Jimmy G to a lesser extent. But I'm more confident in those guys. I mean, I don't know if I would say off script, but if I need it. If I need you to go get me a touchdown, there's 2 minutes left on the clock. I don't have much confidence in Kirk Cousins.
And not ideal circumstances. I think that's important also. Not ideal. Not ideal.
Right. Well, next up, that was a riveting Kirk Cousins segment.
Old
Kirky. New York Giants lost to Detroit. They're sitting at 7-3 now. Record shows they're still in a very, very good spot to make the playoffs. But the question is, Are they going to get in the playoffs? Have this been fool's gold? Are they going to hold on? They do have the toughest remaining strength of schedule in the league with their opponents at a 67.8 winning percentage, and they face Philly twice, the Vikings, the Cowboys, Commanders twice, and then they also face the Colts. Are they going to get in, or are we going to see a catastrophic collapse here, and then the Giants end up with a middling first-round pick?
I hit on this earlier. I said that they were going to miss the playoffs, and I mean, part of it was that factor that they're playing all the NFC East teams again that they really haven't played yet. I mean, they get the Cowboys this Thursday, Thanksgiving. They're going to get shit all over.
Line's at, I think, 9 now.
Yeah, that game's not close. And then, I mean, you got to play the Eagles twice. You got to play the Commanders twice.
The Vikings, the Colts. I mean,
I think they
the
lose
Colts
to
are
the
their
Commanders
easiest game,
now.
strength of schedule wise.
Yeah.
We'll listen to
I
this too.
don't see
So let's say that they lose to Dallas on Thanksgiving. I think we all think they're going to lose that.
Mhm.
Commanders face the Falcons this next week. If the Commanders win that game, they
They're
go
tied.
into Week 13 against the Giants. Week 13, we have a Commanders-Giants matchup. If Commanders beat the Giants that game, they are leapfrogging them, and Giants are out of the playoff bracket.
And then Commanders are in. I
agree. I think they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they are too. I really do. And I don't think it's going to be, I wouldn't say in terms of the results, it's catastrophic because it's still a loss. I still seen them be competitive in these games. I just don't think it's going to go their way like it has been to start the year. I think, some of the luck's going to run out a little bit, and
They're
this is
kind of
where
like
the schedule
They've
a
had
little bit, yeah.
They've had a pretty easy schedule. They're not dominating games by any means.
Yeah,
They're not
and then
dominant
the games
in any
they
department
should,
whatsoever.
they're still kind of close. So
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, they just
yeah.
lost to the Lions. Like I think they're gonna miss it. I have
do
more
too.
faith.
I
in
hate
the
to say it. I was so happy to see it.
I want them to
but
miss it as a
sucks.
Cowboy fan, but
yeah.
I honestly have more faith with the momentum that the Commanders have right now with Taylor Heineke. Taylor
100%.
Heineke is, I think, 4-1
and
as
Chase
the
Young
starting
coming
quarterback
back.
with them.
That is
Chase Young's
huge
coming
for
back.
them.
And that's the thing with the Commanders. I mean, going into the start of last season, their D-line was talked about with the Niners and, these great teams that have
They have a
pass
great
rush.
run D.
They can get after everyone. And we're starting to see this defense elevate now to their true potential. I mean, they got we've known they've had names on that defense, and it's only a matter of time before Ron Rivera could figure that out and make this defense actually be something that's somewhat feared. And Taylor Heineke, they love Taylor Heineke.
They love him. The team loves him too. That's a
yeah.
big thing.
I would rather have
teams-
Brian DeBall as my head coach though than Ron Rivera. But I mean,
I would too.
I think that the outlook of those teams is just different. I don't really know what the Giants' identity is at this point. I guess
don't
you could
have
say
one.
leaning. They don't really have one. 'Cause, I mean, there'll be games where they go Saquon heavy and then they let Daniel Jones throw the ball 40 fucking times and waste the game away.
Mhm.
They don't really have any receivers who I'm just stoked
Lost
about.
Wandale.
He's out for the year now.
Yeah, out for the year.
I mean, Kenny
Offensive
Galladay has
lines.
been a colossal bust.
Yeah.
Slayton's looked all right. For them. Big
Slayton's
play
gotten
guy.
shit on for so much, but I mean, the past few years, he has probably been their most productive receiver.
He's been
Yeah,
a big.
which is
I think he's
shit.
there for sure.
Yeah,
The
which is
best.
not
He's been the
good,
best
which is
big
not
play
good.
guy. Yeah. Other than Saquon, he's for sure been the best big play receiver.
But as a Cowboy fan, I absolutely love this because, honestly, as a Cowboy fan that despises the New York Giants, this is the best case that could happen. Giants go up 7-2, look like a lock for the playoffs, and then we see a second half season just collapse, and then they're not even at the point where they have a top pick, they're middling first round pick.
They can't
And
pick
now-
Kayvon Thibodeau again.
now they're also tied with their hands behind their back to where Daniel Jones didn't play terrible, but didn't play great. But you think you probably have to roll it again with them, and you probably have to pay Saquon.
they might
too.
be stuck at Medley depending on what happens.
Yes,
basically.
the Giants very well could be stuck in this Bermuda Triangle of just mediocrity, and I can't love it more, honestly.
Yeah.
Fuck that Giants banner right there. That's all Brophy.
Yeah, that's all, bro. It was fun while it lasted, though. I will say that. It was very fun while it lasted. Even not as a Giants fan, it was fun to see them just win games. And you're like, how the fuck did they fucking do this?
They just kept doing it.
Yeah.
They just
I'm
kept
rooting
doing it.
for the ball or Dable, however you say it. But
Oh, I think
I'll
Dable's
root for
awesome.
him. Mhm.
he's
I mean,
great.
We've seen too Josh Allen misses him a fuckload.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Ken Dorsey is not anywhere near the
not
offensive
the
coordinator
same.
he
Not the
was. No,
same. And people
but
are saying like, "Oh, Ken Dorsey might be a head coach." Like, I hope not. I hope not. That'd be bad. That'd be
Wow.
bad. That'd
So
be
go
listen,
ahead
bad.
and
listen to
find
this.
out. Find out.
I think the
Yeah,
Giants are even more fool's gold than the Minnesota Vikings. The
they are.
Giants,
Oh yeah.
every single game the Giants have won this season has been by one possession.
Yep.
Every game. They have not, even the Texans, they beat them by 8 points. Like, they are not a dominant team by any stretch of the imagination. They have gotten extremely. I mean, the Seahawks beat them by 14. The Lions beat them by 13. Like,
If I'm a Texans fan, I'm more excited about the direction of that team than I am the
Hell yeah.
Giants. At least you have a direction to go. At
yeah,
least you
Hell yeah.
have,
we know we're going to get C.J.
Browns keep
Stroud or Bryce
sucking up.
Young.
We're about to
yeah.
get like
Dameon
2
Pierce.
top 10 picks. Fuck yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, you'll
happy
have
as
the
hell.
Browns pick, too.
I wish Davis Mills was not as shitty as he was, just purely as a fan. But like in terms of like the franchise and direction, it's what's best for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's
yeah.
all about for a Texans fan. It's all about that pick.
yeah, picks. We need the Browns to keep. Even when Deshaun comes back, they need to
multiple
lose.
picks.
Yeah, they need to lose. So
All right,
yeah.
well, going beyond that, talking about directions of franchises. The LA Rams. I mean,
Whew.
this has been one of the worst second seasons we've seen from this Super Bowl hangovers in general. I mean, they're
sold out.
terrible. They sold their soul to the devil. Yes, it got them a Super Bowl, but the next 5-6 years for this franchise looks absolutely terrible. And the question is, do the Rams have the worst future of any team in the NFL currently?
Oh, I would say absolutely. But I will say in their defense, they do have some pretty good guys to trade to get some capital back that they lost. They have a bunch of guys to trade, but I think that someone has planted a bomb in the building, and all someone's doing is waiting with a remote clicker to press go and just blow it up officially. And once one guy goes from that big group of players, one of those guys goes, I think that's where you see it all just hit the fan.
I don't think the franchise believes they're in. I mean, we saw at the deadline they tried to trade multiple first-round picks for Brian Burns. I agree with you. I think they have the worst direction and the worst future, but I think their front office is still stuck in this mindset that they can win it.
They have no other They really have no other option.
They have no option but to keep pushing their chips in the middle of the table.
Literally, they really don't, because unless they want to get rid of all those guys and start from scratch with probably you get good capital, but you can't trade every single guy on that team for what you should get, because you overpaid every single one of them. So now that you overpaid them all, that makes them harder to trade. So that comes into play also.
I wouldn't go so far to say that they probably have the worst future, just because
Who would you say has the worst future?
It's tough. That's tough to predict. I mean, I almost think that I would rather see a team shit the bed and get a high draft pick over somebody who they can be like. I mean, you take a look at teams that do shit the bed, and like the Cowboys, for example. They have a bad year, and then they're able to pick Micah Parsons, and it shifts the direction of the team. And
the Rams are not one player or two players away.
No, and they don't.
They're 5 offensive linemen away,
and they have an old and Matthew Stafford ain't getting any younger.
To do
they don't have
because
the 2023 draft pick.
The Lions hold their fucking draft pick, but I mean, I like Sean McVay. I think he's one of the best coaches in the, if not one of definitely the best coaches in the NFL.
That is their silver lining. Is
they're saving grace here. But I mean, a lot of the players who they had on that team last year who were showing out are now gone. And that offensive line is definitely the worst in the league.
They need to get Whitroot out the fucking booth right now.
Yeah.
Right fucking now.
It won't matter.
It won't matter. That's more like a next year thing. For next year, get him out of the booth.
Cup's
he's
my fantasy team hurts.
But my case for the Rams having the worst future in the league is based on, yes, they do have Sean McVay, which is like the ultimate pro. If you have a great coach, it can make up for a ton of deficiencies. But when we take a look at their cap space specifically and their draft capital, obviously they don't have the 2023 first-round pick as it shipped off the Detroit Lions. But their cap space situation is honestly very scary right now. From 2024 to 2026, Kupp and Matthew Stafford combined for around $76 million a year, which is 37% of their cap alone for those two players. And Matthew Stafford is battling injuries this year. He's not getting any younger. He's 34 now, and Cooper Kupp is coming off a bad injury now, and he's also not getting any younger either. And then when we look beyond that, they also have, Jalen Ramsey, Allen Robinson, Rob Havenstein, Leonard Floyd, Bobby Wagner, who they're all paying a ton of money. And the kicker is people are like, oh, well, they can, cut these players, make do. With the Stafford and Kupp situation, they can't cut these guys. The dead cap hits are way too significant until 20. Like, you're stuck. You're married to Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp.
You lose money cutting any of them, basically.
Yes, you're not getting rid of. The only one they could cut bait on Bobby Wagner and be okay. And then Rob Havenstein after 23, they can cut bait on him. And then maybe Al Robinson they could trade. But with that combined with the draft capital they've already given up, it's like it is looking so bleak for this team. And
it's
they
bad.
arguably have the
Aaron
worst
Donald's
offensive line in the league.
Yeah.
And then you take it, and then whenever you take out Cooper Kupp, I honestly would say they have the worst skill position group in the league as well. And for a team, and I've always hated teams, or I do not like teams that are so reliant on a few players. It's not the NBA, it's the NFL. And if you are reliant on three defensive, or I'm not even counting Bobby Wagner anymore. He's not what he was. But when you're reliant on Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford, and Cooper Kupp to lead your team, you don't have the cap to make up a round. You don't have the draft picks to make up a round. And so you're forced to play these, mediocre to below average players around them. And in the NFL, unless you have Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, it's not going to work. It worked last year because, like you said, Aaron, they had all these guys. They lost a lot of them, and guys playing out of their mind. And I mean, dude,
you gotta have
Leonard
someone that
Floyd
elevates everyone.
like $16 million a year right now.
That's crazy.
Have we heard Leonard Floyd been mentioned once?
No, but they always try to suck him off during the broadcast. Like he'll get like one pressure and look at Leonard Floyd.
Look at that one pressure.
Look at Leonard. Look at why they hate him.
When he's playing with the best defensive tackle of all time.
Yeah, literally.
Lined up right next to him.
But their silver lining is McVay.
I see what you're saying, and I agree with it. It's tough for me to pick against McVay. I'm sure that some team is going to make some mistake somewhere and fuck up. But I think it's in terms of roster management, they have done the worst, and they sold out last year.
If they did not win that Super Bowl, Les Snead, who around the NFL is talked about as one of these, he's the best in the business. If they didn't win that Super Bowl last year,
it would have been
Les
so
Snead
fucking bad.
Would be known as one of the worst GMs in probably the history of the NFL for how far this team is set back for the future. Like this. And that's what, when we break it down, it's like a lot of people could probably say, oh, well, look at the Texans or the Bears or, just one of these horrible teams. But at least for the Texans, you're going to get one of these top quarterbacks.
We got picks at least.
You have an abundance of cap room. You can make shit happen. You go get a QB, you wait a year or two, you sign pieces, you can make it work.
We have some rookies that have looked well.
The Rams are tied. They don't have options here.
Have the Rams had any rookies that have made an impact at all for them this year? At all? I know the Texans have had
they've
three.
Been picking in the third round at the earliest.
Yeah.
The past
I know,
years.
that's what I'm saying. But still, they haven't had any output.
Tutu Atwell.
Finally. That was his first catch of his fucking career almost yesterday. But
fucking Cam Akers. Anybody who drafted Cam Akers in fantasy football
is hating their life right now.
And I don't feel sorry for it.
No. I mean, it's just I don't know, and this was another take I was on early on that I did not like them coming on this season based on the fact that you lose Andrew Whitworth, you lose Austin Corbett, you lose Von Miller. You can't just throw players out there and expect them to make up for these guys. Andrew Whitworth said when he was fucking 50 years old.
Fucking good still.
He was still one of the best pass blocking tackles in the league. And like you said, when you have one of these immobile quarterbacks, you got to have protection. If the protection ain't there, especially with a turnover guy like Stafford, it's not going to be pretty by any means.
And also with their future too, it's worth noting that McVay's out when the big guys are out. So that future is tied to whenever they start getting rid of the big dogs. And once they get rid of the big dogs, that's when McVay's going to be out there and he'll be in the booth doing something. But like I said, I think someone placed a bomb in the building. It's just waiting for the for someone to press the green phone button for it to go. I'm convinced of it. They're just waiting for it, but
They're just waiting to
it's
hit it.
ready. It's ready. They're just waiting on the right moment, but it's ready to go for sure.
I mean, yeah, in an ideal world, if they traded Donald and Ramsey, and I mean, they would be able to
Is
replenish.
Donald not on a 1-year deal?
No,
think it's like
he's on. It's a 3-year, I believe, like $95 million deal, with most of the money guaranteed.
But yeah, he was already thinking about retiring though.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm pulling it up right here. They're paying him a shitload of money.
I mean, he deserves it for sure, but it's just like,
He
yeah.
definitely deserves it. Hold up. So, well, and that's the kicker too. Is so Stafford's cap hit for this year is only $13.5 million.
Oh, okay.
And that's for this year. For next season, Stafford's cap hit is next season's not bad either. It's $20 million, but then once it hits 2024, it's 49.5. In 2025, it's 50.5, and in 2026, it's 49.5.
That's the greatest contract ever.
And they cannot cut him either. The dead cap hit, you can't do it. And then Cooper Kupp is 17.8 this year, and then 27.8, 26.3, 26.3.
In all reality, though, we shouldn't have any notion to remove Cooper Kupp from that team.
No, they should not. They should not.
Wow, that deal's going to get so bad for Stafford.
Well,
another so bad.
Another guy to mention, Joseph Noteboom, his cap hit in 2023 is 15.5 and 17 in 2024.
He kind of sucks ass.
He has been dog shit at the right time.
Havenstein is 9 and then 15 in 2024.
Yeah.
So they're paying out about $30 million to 2 shitty ass tackles for the next few years per season.
Oof.
Aaron Donald in 2024 has a whopping $34.1 million cap hit.
Oh, buddy.
That's about it's over $100 million in 2024 for Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Matthew Stafford, just for 3 players. Over 100. The cap. Keep in mind, the cap room currently is at $208 million. That's about half of your cap room.
Yeah.
And we're not in the MLB where you can just sign players.
We got Jalen Ramsey and Bobby Wagner added into the mix, and Leonard fucking Floyd. Who's My
apologies. Leonard Floyd in 23 and 24 is a $22 million hit both years.
Whoa.
Ooh, that's brutal. That's brutal.
Yeah. Where are they filling up? These other guys have to just be like.
They're paying a lot of people minimum contracts.
It's like all the third rounders they've been getting,
and that's why their team sucks, because they're starting a bunch of unproven youngsters that should not be starting.
Yeah, no. Off that, I think they do have the worst, because those numbers are going to get unbearable to work with in a couple of years.
McVay's not going to be able to save that.
And right now in 2022, we are in like the grace period still. Like, it hasn't gotten bad at all. It's gonna get for worse. Rams fans. It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets any better. Like, the 2022 cap numbers, like, considering the next few years, it looks very good. 23 to 26, it's gonna start looking real bad. I mean, they're gonna have to either trade players to get picks or eat a lot of dead cap.
Stafford
you can only restructure so many contracts.
Was Stafford like $50 million part of the deal he re-signed after the Super Bowl? Is that what that's from?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the base here.
That's got to be what that's
the
from.
fact is base it's 13 and then 20 and then 50.
Fuck.
and that's like the natural argument. I feel like people are like, oh, well, you can just restructure contracts and finesse the cap. But now yes, you can. You can when you have some
if the player wants
room.
to. Yeah.
But whenever you have numbers this astonishing and this astronomically high, there's not a lot of wiggle room here.
If I'm Leonard Floyd and I'm getting grossly overpaid like that, I am not taking a pay cut at all. I'm going to be like, no, like, absolutely not. You're cutting into my quality of life right there.
And then even if they restructure these deals, they're still paying them off for the next year's being like. So, I mean, it's more not even of the picks, because they only lost the 2023 pick. It's this cap. I mean, this is probably one of the worst cap situations of all time.
It's gonna be tough to dump it. That's the problem too in a couple of years. Like, it's gonna be rough for someone to want to take that on.
Exactly. And, like, let's say, like, next season coming in, Stafford. I mean, Matthew Stafford's 34 right now. In 2026, when
It
he's
just
making
had
$50
back-to-back
million,
concussions.
and now he's having more. He's gonna be 39 years old, and they're paying him $50 million. They're gonna have to cut bait with. I mean,
No, I'm sold. I'm sold because McVay's going to be out the door when they have
yes,
back-to-back losing seasons. Yeah,
and that's why when I looked at this earlier, it blew my mind that, like, no one's talking about this cap
they're so
situation with the
fucked.
Rams
They're so
right
fucked.
now.
No, I'm glad we brought this up. I totally I thought they might have had the worst, but I'm like thoroughly convinced now after hearing the
Yeah.
actual numbers behind what they're. I knew they were overpaying people, but like, note boom is no. I don't even know what to say for him. Just
No.
nothing. No, nothing. No.
I mean, where does
I
that?
don't even know.
I mean, a 15 and a 7. That's got to rank near the top in offensive tackle cap hits.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
I think they expected him to replace Witt. That was
Horrible mistake. Yeah, that was not the guy. You're not the guy.
Yeah. No, I mean that's and it's just I don't know how they can fix that. I really don't.
I don't think it gets worse.
Okay, let me ask all this. Would you rather your team suck for 10 years but have a Super Bowl win? Or just be a, good?
Or just
Do
be
you think it was
just
worth
be
it?
mid? That's tough because when we're saying if we get that Super Bowl win for the next 10 years, are we like Cleveland Browns, in the past 20 years bad? Or are we kind of like to where we might be able to kind of compete? Or we're just like, going into week 1, your team's screwed.
Yeah, I mean, that's the direction that the Rams are going. So
Okay, so you're screwed. I mean, I would – God, it's a tough question. I haven't been alive for a Cowboys Super Bowl, but if I was going into every season for 10 years knowing that my team had literally no chance whatsoever, it would be hard to take that one Super Bowl for a 10-year stretch of zero hope at all. Because that's what gives a lot of us fans by, especially is hope. Hope is what gets us
something
by.
to root for.
And if you have zero hope whatsoever, I mean,
at least if you're like a meddling team, you get you at least have stuff to root for throughout the season. Like, it sucks being a Texans fan right now. I'll tell you that. Every time I watch the fucking play, it's like I try and find one thing that looked good to cheer for the entire game, and that's the one thing. Like, I watched Jalen Petrie the entire game yesterday. Didn't watch any of the rest of the team. Just only watched Jalen Petrie because I know the rest of the team is not going to do it. He's good, and he's fun to watch. The rest of the
Nico
team,
Collins,
he's not bad.
I would
right?
say y'all did find Dameon Pierce. Like, when I watched that guy run, like, he's
a guy.
Scary.
He's a guy. Sadly,
how did he only have 8 yards? I didn't watch that game.
Know. I have no idea. We were trying to trick him and throw the ball on first and second down, and that just doesn't really work with Davis Mills. And he was threw a pick six to start the game on his first drive. So,
and what did he have, like 12 carries for 8 yards? Like
he had 10 carries for 8 yards, but he had some catches, which was nice for fantasy purposes because he salvaged what could have been
catches.
No, he had some catches. He had 3.
I thought you said
he had
10.
I think he had 3 catches, but
say.
He salvaged what could have been like a sub 1 point day in fantasy, basically, with some catches. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the Rams.
They're fucked.
It's not looking good for their future.
No, they're fucked. They're fucked.
Beyond that, the Chicago Bears, I mean, we've seen Justin Fields all over ESPN recently, just breaking highlight reels, having these crazy runs. Seems like the Bears have found something there. But the question is, are they overusing him, and is this play sustainable? And is this what they have with Justin Fields right now? Is this a philosophy that they can go into the future with and say, this is how we can run our offense?
I think it comes down to his development as a passer, but no, not at this current pace. No, but I think you can use some of the same elements still in the future, but you can't do it this much. You're going to run him into the ground.
They gotta have some.
Yeah,
they gotta go to the Ravens and say, "Hey, what the fuck have y'all been doing?"
How'd y'all do that?
Yeah,
how we want to do exactly what
how do y'all feel about an Eagles offense, an RPO offense with Justin Fields?
That would probably be great. No, that'd probably be all right. He was
And
good at it
obviously
at Ohio
they
State.
can't do it. They can't do it right now because they don't have the personnel around. But
Well,
Mhm.
so Justin Fields at Georgia was not really the best.
Ohio
Uh,
State.
Georgia runs a weird offense. It's like a
Wait,
spread.
Justin Fields went to Ohio State, right?
Yeah, and then he transferred. He transferred from Georgia to Ohio State.
Okay, yeah.
So he transfers because I mean that Georgia offense is tough to run. I mean that's why you have a guy like Stetson Bennett who's been there for a while and took it over. Now can run it. He goes to Ohio State. Ohio State is a very QB friendly offense. Like Ryan Day runs a pretty nice system. They surround him with one of the best offensive lines in all college football. They surround them with amazing wide receivers, and they run a lot of mesh. If I'd like to see the Bears, if they were going to take Field, like they're in a bit of an identity crisis, and this is not the year that they need to be running him into the fucking ground because it's clear that he's the future of that team. And
it is. I think it is beneficial that they've found what can work for him.
Yes. So they need to pump the brakes. Like last year, they weren't letting him use his athleticism because they were like, "Hey, our offensive line is shit. We're not going to be good this year. Don't get injured." Like we see the flashes, and then this year we're starting to see it. I mean, Justin Fields is number 5 right now in the NFL in rushing yards. I don't know if y'all know that. He's killing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to either, with this identity crisis, they could go 2 directions here. You can run kind of a power spread like the Ravens do with Lamar. If you're going to do that, you got Cole Kmet as I mean, he had an amazing catch last week. I think that he could be a good tight end if they threw to him more. But you either build off guys like Cole Kmet, build up the offensive line, maybe run some 12 personnel, allow him to run the ball, continue boosting the run game. I like Khalil Herbert. I like David Montgomery. I don't say I love them, but I mean, they're good enough running backs in the NFL. Offensive line's obviously dog shit right now, so you'd have to improve that. But you can either commit to the run and take the Ravens approach, build an offense around his athleticism and his run game, or you go back to some sort of form of what he was doing at Ohio State. Like let him succeed how he used to be. The passes that he was making at Ohio State weren't necessarily like that crazy. He's hitting people on crossing routes, not necessarily deep posts or anything, but on crossing routes. He's hitting guys on curls. He's hitting guys on wide receiver screens. So you can either go back to an offense like that where you get more vertical, but you'd have to surround him with the skill position talent at receiver,
which they don't have right now.
Which they don't have right now. Or you have to build up a team to be able to run the ball like the Ravens do with him. And Lamar doesn't get hurt, 1, because he's a smart runner. But 2, because he has a really good offensive line. The Ravens always invest in their offensive line. They got Pat Ricard at fullback. They got, tight ends like this year, Josh Oliver, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews. Point in case that, John Harbaugh said, "Hey, Lamar, I'm not just going to do with you what I was doing with Joe Flacco. I'm going to completely rebuild the team around your athleticism." So if they do that, I think they could be good with that. But you have to decide one or the other. They can't just keep going out there and doing what they're doing, and there has to be some personnel upgrades for whatever they do. So,
and I think a good thing too that you mentioned, like adding pieces, they are going to have some cap room after getting rid of Roquan Smith and dumping. I mean, they paid Eddie
cap room.
Yeah, they paid Eddie Jackson a couple of years ago, so they're fine there. Jaquan Brisker's they're probably their best defensive player, and he's a rookie. Got rid of Robert Quinn recently, so they dumped his contract. So I mean they have the cap space to get a big time wide receiver. Now I don't know exactly who's going to be available in terms of free agent wide receivers this offseason. I know this past offseason was probably the best one for that, but a lot of teams are kind of starting to lock up their number ones who develop under them. So I don't really know who they're going to sign, but I know that they definitely should make a big splash. And, I don't think they should really be worried about, is this money well spent? I think really they just need to see what they can do when they give him options, and they need to give him those options and then go from there. Because you can worry about dumping those guys if you overpay a couple wide receivers every now and then. But what you can't be doing is paying these guys a whole lot, and then what you end up doing is, like you mentioned, running the ball, running him into the ground. If you're going to go in this offseason, you either need to go in fully in the run game, like you mentioned, or you also need to just go fully into let's spread it out. Let's open it up a little bit. Let's see what he can do. And maybe let some of that spreading it out open up passing lanes and making it 11 on 11, because whenever he's in there, you have to have someone spying him every single time. So
Yeah.
that's one less guy in coverage or one less guy rushing the passer per se. But they just have to they got the money to do it if they want to. They want to load up and give him the weapons, or they have the money to load up and build a team in the right way that they want to in the long term. So, and that would start up front with the O-line, that sort of stuff.
And and building up the last point to that, Cole, but you get on this, and building up the offensive line, there's always two types of offensive line that you can go around. I mean, a run blocking, mauling offensive guard is a lot different than your, true, like Whitworth, when we talked about him. He was just a stone wall at left tackle for pass blocking. Not only do you need congruity with what direction your offense is going to go, they're going to build up the offensive line that offseason. They have to. That group has one decision, like one direction to go, and it's up. So it's like you need to build up your offensive line that has congruity with that as well, because I mean everything has to be in sync, or else it's not going to work with Justin Fields in Chicago. So
my only thing is, I feel like we've seen them try to pass it with Justin Fields a little bit, and since they have established this very dominant running game, I mean, they're leading the league right now in rushing yards. He really hasn't been able to make the throws, even though, they are putting 7-8 guys in the box. I mean, he's hitting his own lineman in the head with the ball.
He looks good when he throws it on the run, though. He looks good on the run, though.
He's off script. He's very good.
Yeah,
but
very good.
I don't think the Ohio State offense is going to work for him in the NFL. I don't see him as a pocket passer kind of guy. I would definitely lean to the Baltimore Ravens. That's what I like. That's what I would lean towards, and build up this O-line for sure.
Right.
Build in the trenches. Start in the trenches here.
Exactly.
You know Fields is your guy, and for this season alone right now, it's like I'm glad though that they finally got their head out of their ass and they figured out an offense to run with him that is run heavy, because the whole season before, the first 6-7 games, they really weren't running it with him, and they didn't really know what they have. Now, as a Bears franchise, you know what you have. You know you have a guy in there that can make it work if you put the right pieces around him and run that kind of offense. So that is a very beneficial thing and an exciting thing to have there. But yeah, definitely what they're doing right now is not sustainable at all. I mean, in the past 6 weeks, he's averaging 13 carries per game.
I mean, he's already banged up from it, so.
And he's already hurt. He hurt his shoulder. His hammies are, giving out. And the most ever in a season was Lamar Jackson. His MVP season, he averaged about 11 rushes per game. The last thing we've seen it. We've seen with Cam Newton. Lamar's, like you said, Lamar's different because Lamar knows how to avoid contact. He knows how to slide and all that. But I don't know I haven't watched a lot of Fields tape, but does he avoid contact like that, or does he?
No,
he doesn't. Okay,
that's why. That's also what makes him different.
He's going to get hurt, and he's not going to last in this league.
How I would explain him, Cole, is basically he runs it like he's Josh Allen, but he can move like he's Lamar Jackson at points, and he's fast like Lamar. So he's running into guys as fast as Lamar, trying to be like Josh Allen. So that's what running backs do. That's not what quarterbacks do play after play. And you don't want him, because he's been running it over like 12 times a game for the crazy rush yard games he have. He's running it more than 10 times a game. It's not like he's getting 5 carries for 100 yards. Like he's running the fucking ball all day, and he'll dive forward, but he's taking a hit. Like someone's landing on top of him or diving into him also, like, because he's always a runner. He's never not in a running point, basically. So that's guys are kind of targeting him, trying to hit the fuck out of him because he is always a runner. And, that's what guys try to do to Lamar, but he avoids them and shifts out of the way or gets down because he's smart enough and is good at it. While Justin, he does not really care. He wants to make those highlight plays and shows that he can, but it's taken a toll. Like maybe he can play through it, but it's like, that's not what you want long term.
Longevity in this league is not going to last if you're making contact like that game in and game out.
Like this could end up being, depending on how they go with this, it could be what could have been with Justin Fields. It really could be a what could have been story rather than what should have been, and that's
because
totally
we know the talent's there.
He has it, and if he just develops a little bit as a passer like we saw Lamar did, he has better arm talent than Lamar does for sure. He can chuck that fucking ball if he needs to. He just doesn't make the best decisions, a little inaccurate, those sort of things. But he has the arm talent for sure. It's just executing with that arm talent that's sometimes a struggle. But when he's off script and running around, he can make some really goddamn good plays. And he's really good at finding people off script. So I feel like for him, the game's a lot faster when he's in the pocket. And then when he's out running around, it just slows down a lot for him during that. Yeah, just slows. He's just way more comfortable. It just slowed down. Feels like he's back in high school when he was running for 1,000 yards and throwing for 4,000 yards. Like, it just feels natural to him. He's not throwing it as much. Oh yeah, he was an animal. He was like the number one
dog in high school.
He was like the number one player in high school. He was a monster. Yeah, he was real good.
Right behind Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, one or two. Yeah.
Yeah, different sites had them ranked as 1 and 2.
But they were both animals.
I honestly think that Justin Fields could have a brighter future than Trevor Lawrence at this point in their careers and at this point on the teams that they're at. But I agree with you, Cole. Out of the two directions that they can go, I would be focusing on the Lamar path and the Ravens path. I mean, so far
we've seen it work.
Yeah,
and we know he's equipped with that kind of running talent.
The Ohio State QB system in the NFL to this point with Ryan Day, it doesn't really work. I mean,
but the idea of surrounding him with weapons does work, though.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like for the Ravens, next step would be say, hey, we just traded off Marquise Brown. Maybe he wasn't the best fit, but we went out and got Rashad Bateman. He's always injured, not really.
And we have Mark Andrews.
The next step, we have Mark Andrews, but the Ravens, everybody's waiting on them to get that next receiver and can kind of continue to surround Lamar with talent. I think that the Bears are just behind.
They're so talent deprived right now, and I mean they've been in a rebuild for a while now.
Right.
But yeah, now they know that or at least I would think the organization knows they have their guys. So now it's let's go get the talent. Let's build in the trenches. Let's go get them a legit weapon on the outside.
Do you have an Andrews-esque tight end and Komet?
Honestly,
he does similar things.
The Herbert Montgomery duo, I don't mind. Montgomery, I'm a little more skeptical on, but Khalil Herbert is a very good running back.
I'll say this, great point to bring up. The Niners picked Trey Lance over Justin Fields. Could you imagine Justin Fields in a read option offense with Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk? Could you imagine the damage? I mean, they would probably be the best team in the NFL. I would say almost without a doubt.
But the question is, though, can he figure out these accuracy and arm, concerns?
I think so.
Because so far in his career, I mean, if you go and watch, and again, I haven't watched a lot of his tape, but from what I've seen, I haven't seen that many great throws from him in the league right now.
Those weren't really
I've seen him hit a lot of open receivers and broken plays, but I haven't seen him, be that pocket passer. I'm saying I think we all agree that he's not the ideal.
He's not
pocket
there yet.
passer
No,
guy.
not there yet.
You're not going to build the offense that way. But
I think, at Ohio State, he did. Those weren't really concerns, but, he went from having one of the best offensive lines in all college football to one of the worst. And, I think that this is why you're seeing him use his legs. So why don't you just build up I would go all in on a badass mauling offensive line with big 330-pound guards, tight ends.
I agree. The line is the priority.
Yeah.
I even think a badass tight end for this offense would benefit him more than
I kind of like Komet though in the long run though. I'm not gonna lie.
I like Komet. I don't think
he does. I think he does a lot of what Mark Andrews can do in terms of like the receiving aspect and running after the catch. I'm not saying he's as good. He's obviously not as good. I don't think he'll be as good, but he's like the similar type of player to where we go back to switching into that like Lamar type offense. I think that's probably where it's at. Get him a Claypool is like a big body receiver, but I don't really know if you're trusting him as your one in the long term. Get a big body receiver, have Darnell coming off on the outside inside, Komet, alternate running backs, mix in his run game with the spy. It could work.
Ideally, you want him to run like 8 times a game.
And Claypool is on that team for run blocking and
Yeah,
for
he's a good
blocking.
blocker. Yeah,
He's not on the team
to
for
like be the
catching
one.
bombs down the field. No, I mean you have Mooney for that, and I don't even necessarily really truly love Mooney on that team. I think Darnell Mooney
Mooney,
is a star.
I feel like Darnell Mooney has just been forced to be hyped up for the past few years because he has been the only guy there.
Yeah.
So
that's how Allen Robinson was there. That's how any receiver in the Bears of the past 10 years.
But A-Rob, though, did some damage in Jacksonville beforehand.
He did.
To where Mooney really hasn't done any damage in the league.
So,
But yeah, Justin Fields, I hope he can make it work. He's such a fun player to watch. But beyond the Justin Fields talk, the Broncos, I'll take this L. I picked them to win the division preseason. I thought Russell was going to slide in, and I thought they were going to be a really good team. And I think I saw a stat that they would be 8-2 if they averaged at least 18 points a game, something like that.
Jesus,
their defense has been playing lights out, no doubt about it.
All year,
the best defense in the league. But the Hackett-Russell Wilson duo has looked like a major
shit show,
disaster, a shit sandwich just thrown right in your fucking face. I think we can all agree that Nathaniel Hackett's gone after this season. That he's not that guy, pal.
Yeah,
but
not that guy, pal.
Is Russell Wilson washed?
Yeah.
Is he washed, or is it a product of the system he's in?
I mean, in terms of, I would say because for what you're paying him for, that's not what you're fucking getting. That's for sure.
But not what you're paying him, because most quarterbacks on these,
so just purely talent,
top 5, top 10 deals,
purely how
most
they've
of them
been
aren't
playing.
worth it. But I'm saying is he okay? A better way to put this:
is his career done?
Can Russell Wilson win them a Super Bowl at any point?
No,
I don't think. Not from what I've seen this year. No, because are they really going to go out and try and add more weapons, or are they going to try and stick with what they got because they thought they had the weapons this year? So I don't know what they're going to do there.
What is the solution then? Because, obviously coming into the next season, they're going to get rid of Hackett and they're going to go hire some other offensive guy to hope it works with Russ. But we've seen all these reports, too, from Seahawks players saying that, they didn't really like playing with Russ, that he didn't show accountability. And he's a weird dude. I don't think he's a very likable guy. And my biggest thing is that he's been so refusive to use his legs in any manner whatsoever. And in Seattle, obviously, besides the badass rosters they had around him, the Legion of Boom, Marshall, they had great rosters. They had Pete Carroll. But that was his ace up his sleeve, is when shit hit the fan, he was an ultimate improviser, and he can go run and he can get the play. And then also his deep ball is not what it was. He's been known for his, since he got in the league, that he has the prettiest, best deep ball in the league. And now it's just, he's not hitting them. It's just not working.
I will also say this. I just looked up 2023 free agent wide receivers. The best free agent wide receivers I've seen is Allen Lazard, Juju, and I think maybe Darius Slayton. Everything outside of that is pretty horrible. So they're not adding anything.
Do they even?
Better. So that's not going to help.
They don't need a receiver,
no,
though.
They don't.
That's
Jerry
what I'm
Jeudy,
saying.
They have
That's
Cortland
what I don't
Sutton.
think. There's no one who's going to be a free agent that they could add that would help. So I don't think that's even going to do anything.
I don't think that would even help.
Yeah.
You have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler, who they never fucking use somehow. I don't understand why.
Fast as shit.
Yeah.
You know what blows my mind is last season they were a top 10 running offense in the league with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock at quarterback. And I know Javonte Williams got hurt, but their rushing attack this year is, I don't know the stats on it, but it's got to be bottom 6 or 7.
Well, a huge reason as to why they're not as good this year is the O-line that's taking a step back for sure. They lost Garrett Bowles. He's one of the best left tackles in the league. You can't really make up around that. That will cripple a team. But the guy who they had step up in replace, actually former Texas grad, Calvin Anderson, wasn't playing that bad. And the rest of the offensive line, especially in the interior, wasn't really performing very well. And a lot of the pressure that Russ sees is up the middle. And, I don't think that he's responded to pressure as well. It's not even about running the ball, but it's about maneuvering in the pocket. And every time I see him in the pocket, it's like watching some rookie quarterback in the pocket. And that shouldn't be the way for a guy who's in their, 10th or 11th season? I don't know what Russ is in, but, you shouldn't be operate. You should be expected to operate in the pocket with like true poise as a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They give you Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Latavius Murray. I mean, if you go and stick those skill position players on a team, you give those position players to Justin Fields. What the fuck is he
Yeah.
doing? He's putting up numbers probably, or he's at least turning the Bears into a better team. I don't think that Russ. I think Russ has hurt the Broncos more than he has helped the Broncos this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's without even factoring in trade picks or salary or anything like that. I mean, I truly just think that
purely the performance. Yeah.
yeah, his performance has held the Broncos back. Like you said, the defense has played amazing, and it's not like you're making any rush to go and upgrade that defense. They got a lot of young talent all across the defense. Damari Mathis was making plays for him the other night. He's a rookie safety. Caden Stearns has a couple, two to three interceptions this year. Second year safety. Patrick Surtain is one of the best cornerbacks in the league right now.
Baron Browning, that linebacker out of nowhere.
Baron Browning looking great. The Ohio State guy, Jonathan Cooper. They asked both of those two guys. They said, we need you to step up. We're trading away Bradley Chubb. We're selling in on the future. Josie Jewell's one of the best linebackers in the league. It's like they have all this young talent on defense that isn't going anywhere. And they have the offensive weapons that you would want. And they go out and they trade for a Super Bowl quarterback. Yeah, you are. I mean, that wasn't a bad idea to pick them as the preseason favorites to win the AFC West. The only thing is just that Russell Wilson has completely shit the bed. I completely changed my tune on him. I mean, I
think most people have.
Yeah, I just no longer like.
And they're in just a complete identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they don't do anything right on offense, and they don't try to do anything right either. It's like when you watch their offense, it seems like they have no plan of attack. They don't try to get the running backs going. They don't have any consistent,
It's like they're playing with using coach suggestions with Madden. It's like let me scroll through this one. It's like, all right, we'll run this play right now. We've thrown it 3 times in a row. Let's mix in a run here. Halfback dive.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the offense. Yeah.
Makes you think how great Aaron Rodgers was to prop up Nathaniel Hackett like that, and just how much Nathaniel Hackett was sucking off Aaron Rodgers to make that translate to a head coaching position, because this is one of the worst hires of a head coach in a long
long. Yep. Good. Not as bad as Urban Meyer, but it's pretty damn bad.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Urban, Urban was bad.
But beyond that, we got it's coming into week 12. Playoffs, are starting to kind of form into shape a little bit. We got some teams hanging out on the outside trying to get in. So, who's y'all's sleeper team that's going to get in on either side, AFC or NFC? If you had to pick one.
Out of the AFC or NFC? Sorry, say that again.
Either side.
To win it out, or just to make it in as like a bubble team?
To sneak in the playoffs.
I'm going with
a sleeper team just to sneak in.
I'm going with the Washington Commanders. That's my pick.
My pick as well.
That is my pick.
Before
that
this,
would be my pick as well too.
I went in there. Oh, we're all three on the same page. Yeah.
It's wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there for the taking.
And they're hot
right now.
They got the
Giants coming up in that big game.
Yeah, got the big win against the Eagles, which they needed to split that with them for the season to have a good shot at the playoffs. So that was big for them.
In the AFC too, I mean, they just shaped out as the best team in the NFC to kind of take those reins. The AFC too doesn't really have any sort of teams that jump. Like I could say the Patriots as a super team to make the playoffs, but would it really surprise anyone if the Patriots made the playoffs?
And they're currently if the season today, they'd be in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you can't really call them. I mean, the Bengals, I guess you could say, but I mean they made it to the Super Bowl last year. It's not really a sleeper
So based on the current AFC playoff picture, right? The Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Titans, and Ravens, they're all getting in. The Bills are getting in. The Bengals, I would think they're getting in. And then I would say at that point it kind of brings us down to 3 teams fighting for the last 2 spots in the Patriots, Jets, and Chargers. Right now the Chargers are a game out with the Jets and Pats getting in. And then beyond that, I mean, the Colts are next in line. They're 4-6-1. I mean, they would have to really turn it up to get in.
I would probably say
Yeah.
that the Chargers are probably the only one that have like the decent out of like the bubble teams, but the best shot of the AFC. But I feel like the AFC teams are just going to be flip flopping with one another a lot throughout the rest of the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all familiar
Yeah, I mean-
faces there. It's not necessarily some, team that comes up out of nowhere. I guess you could say the Jets, but no confidence in them.
From what,
Unless
yeah,
they
with
came out tomorrow and said, "Hey, Joe Flacco's our guy moving forward." I think that gives them a pretty decent shot to win some games.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the playoff pictures are kind of taken. I mean, there's not much like I feel like that move. I mean, then the NFC side of things, the Commanders are, a half game out, and then after that it's the Falcons at 5-6, and then everyone else after that's pretty much already eliminated. So yeah, I mean, I think the Commanders have to be the obvious answer there.
the Seahawks, I guess you could. I mean, the Seahawks are slated to make the playoffs right now. I don't know how long this streak is
They're in
going
the
to
7th seed
continue.
slot right now.
The 49ers are probably going to. I mean, they're going to be tied after this. I would imagine.
After tonight, 49ers jumped them. 49ers are the 3 seed now, technically, with that game right
Yeah,
there.
so I mean, I guess you could think the Seahawks, if you call that a sleeper team, just because I would have never predicted it preseason. But they've also came out and showed it on the field this year. Their offense is putting up some fucking points. So,
all right, we're back from break. Next up, we have our worst QB draft. And what qualifies them is any quarterback that has currently started a game in this calendar season for the NFL is on the board. Big E, you have the first pick.
going number 1, old John Wolford. I've never seen a backup quarterback look as shitty as that guy did the other day. So I'm going.
I don't think you can go wrong with
I'm going John
Wolford.
Wolford number 1.
all right, I'll take number 2, regardless of whatever has happened in terms of any stats that this guy's put up. I mean, yesterday was horrible. I'm taking Baker Mayfield at number 2. Personally, just because I dislike Baker Mayfield as a player too. But I mean, he's got to be in the
Big
conversation
show.
for one of the worst first picks of all time. So
Yeah, he's terrible. All right. For my first pick, I'm gonna go with Malik Willis.
Good pick.
When he started, he was just absolutely terrible. Looked way in over his head. My second pick, I'm gonna go with Sam Bam Ehlinger, the Texas boy. He looked like he should never be starting an NFL game either.
part of my Texas, like any life that I have.
Is that a fart?
I still think he played all right in that first game, but like that second game against the Patriots.
Did you fart?
I thought you farted.
No,
Did you fart? Oh, it must have
No.
been the chair. Okay.
dude, yeah, this chair out.
You sure that wasn't yourself?
No.
Oh, I thought you totally
That would've been
farted.
funny.
I thought Big
On
E.
the
I
video.
thought you farted.
No,
Big
I
E.
would have laughed right away.
Oh.
I was looking to point fingers. That's how you know it wasn't me right away.
Oh. No, if I farted, I'd wear
Yeah,
it.
I own up to it. So, who'd you go with? You went Malik and Ellinger.
I went Malik and Ellinger. Yep.
I'm going with.
Or no, Aaron's back.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Man, it's tough. This next one's tough for me to think about. Other QBs have been bad. From a fantasy standpoint, I'm going like probably PJ Walker.
No,
again.
not fantasy. Just
Just worst
quarterback
start.
play. Just worst quarterback.
Oh, you better not let me get him.
Man, I'm trying to think.
My team's gonna be fucking loaded already.
I think John
Trubisky start
Wolford
some
was
games
like,
at the beginning of the year.
yep,
There we go.
yep.
There we go.
All right. So you got Mitchy Bitchy.
Mitch, all right. Carson Wentz. I can't believe y'all let me get him. Oof. Going.
See, I think I like some of these other guys more.
Oh,
worse
I
than-
like
than-
Carson.
mean,
I wanted to
even
make
though
sure I
Wentz
get
is
Carson
terrible,
to
but-
round out the team. Next, we're going with Zach Wilson.
Fuck, that's who I was
Yeah.
gonna pick. Good pick.
So loaded
Good
up
pick.
right there with the double whammy back to back. So looking good so far.
You did. All right, my next pick. No. Did you pick PJ Walker?
No, he has not been picked.
No.
All right. For my second pick, this will
Your third.
This will be my third pick.
Yeah.
Third pick. I'm gonna go PJ Walker.
PJ. Okay. And then for your fourth,
Good.
what you got?
Oh, my fourth. So my fourth pick. Oh, this is where it gets dicey.
That's where it gets interesting.
Ooh.
I got mine.
See, it's funny because I'm like, I don't want to pick Colt McCoy. I think Colt
Don't
McCoy
you
is
fucking
better than
do
some
it.
of these.
No.
I'm not gonna pick Colt. I think Colt's better than some of these guys who started. I'm gonna pick Andy Dalton.
Okay, all
I
right.
think
I don't mind it.
he's
Some
just-
might disagree with it, but honestly, I
Yes.
don't mind it at all.
I don't
mind it
miss-
at all.
Honestly, I don't love the pick
As a Saints
either.
fan,
I
I'm a
don't
little
love the
biased
pick.
here, so I just watched him have a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't love that pick, honestly.
It's kind of
But
tough
it is
when
what
you
it
think
is.
about it. There haven't been as many QB injuries this year as a lot of years.
Oh,
I was thinking Andy or Jameis, and then
But that's
fuck,
where I
maybe
just
should go
thought back
Jameis,
to
but-
for my next pick. That was QB injuries after Tua, and the Dolphins had to go to third string. I'm pretty sure y'all could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Skylar Thompson started the game.
Oh, did he
he
start?
did start a game. Yeah, he did.
Yep.
He got hurt, but he started.
Oh, he did. Fuck. Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
pick. I
I
didn't
had
know
to
he
think that.
started.
Like I said, I just thought back
Then he got hurt. He did start though. That's a great pick.
because you just
That's a
have to
great
think
pick,
there haven't
Aaron.
been that many QB injuries. So just think
That's a
about
good.
No.
That's a
injury.
good value pick right there.
He slept. He slipped under the radar there. That's a good pick.
All right. Shit. Last one for me to round out my draft. This is going to be a tough one. I'm hoping I don't have to do it. I might have to though. Let me think about this one real quick because I don't want to do it, but I think I'm gonna have to. Yep, no other option. Unfortunately, I'm putting Davis Mills as to round out my team.
I was considering Davis Mills.
Love the guy, but he's really bad.
He's not.
He's
good.
not good. I wanted him to be good, but he's just not. He's not.
You know
not
what?
the guy.
Let's get dicey. Let's make this a 5-round. Biggie, you're on the clock.
Oh, again? Okay, so after Davis Mills, I'm going with Joe Flacco.
Flack attack.
Joe Flacco. Yeah, I know he had some
Proving
moments.
his dipshit son
Yeah,
wrong.
I know he's had some moments, but I definitely would take a lot of quarterbacks over Joe Flacco. That's for sure. So, go Joe Flacco. That's a squad right there. Team's loaded.
Okay, I have one I cannot think of his name. Who did the Broncos start when Russ got hurt?
Ripien. Oh, that
Ripien?
was
Was
a
it
good-
Ripien?
Yeah,
Dude, no
Ripien.
way.
Oh, did he start?
Yeah, he did start.
Oh my
game.
God, he did start. Fuck, you keep getting these
Yeah,
sleepers.
They
I'm
had
just
one
telling you,
starting.
dude, think of the injuries and just think back.
They had one game. That was a
Did
good
Jordan
pick.
Love start?
No,
No,
Rodgers too
not
tough.
yet.
Rodgers too tough.
Okay, the last pick of the draft. I'm gonna
Sure.
double up on the Saints. I'm gonna go James Winston.
That's not a bad
See,
pick. You get That's
I'm gonna double
that's
up.
not the worst option, honestly.
I think that Andy Dalton has played better than Jameis this year. Now, I'm not
He
saying
probably has. The Andy Dalton pick was probably a reach, honestly.
if you
That
just
was
would have
that
flipped
was
the
despite
spots
out
on
of the
these.
trade.
If
That
you
was out of
picked Jameis
spite for
around
trading
earlier.
for him a couple years ago.
Some names that did not get picked though were Trey Lance,
Jacoby Brissett.
Colt McCoy,
He's too
Teddy
good.
Bridgewater,
That's fair about Colt McCoy. Teddy.
Bailey Zappi, Cooper Rush. I thought Rush was going to get picked.
He was kind of good though, but
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett,
Pickett would not have been bad.
Marcus Murray.
I almost went with him over Joe Flacco, but I did not.
All right. Let's run through that real quick on a quick hitter.
Mhm.
For real. Do y'all have your picks memorized?
Yeah, I wrote mine down.
Okay. All right. With the first pick in the worst NFL quarterback draft, Big E picks.
John Wolford, the Los Angeles Rams. Oh, do I just list them all off? Sorry.
Or no, we'll go. So Aaron will go. And
Okay,
then
Yeah.
I'll
gotcha.
go. So, yeah.
The second
Yeah.
pick, I had Baker Mayfield.
With the third pick, I had Malik Willis. And then swinging back around with the fourth overall pick, I took Sam Ellinger.
With the fifth pick, I took Carson Wentz out of the Washington Commanders.
With this is the one I forgot. Damn it. I should have wrote them down. That was a good point. I know I picked
I think you picked did you pick Baker?
Baker
yeah.
first.
Oh, yeah.
And then third I got Skylar
Wait.
Thompson. And then fourth I got
Wait, you
Brett
picked
Rippey.
Baker first? Or you picked Baker fourth?
Or I picked Baker with my first pick. See, I should have wrote them
shit.
down. I fucked up.
Did you pick was it Skylar Brett Rypien?
That was my third, fourth picks. Dude, who did I pick second?
Malik? No, Cole had Malik.
No, I
Yeah,
I
you
got
had Malik Willis.
Was it PJ Walker?
No, you had PJ Walker too.
Fuck
I don't remember
All right,
everyone
fuck
else's pick.
Fuck
but
it.
myself.
I can go back. We don't need to reiterate. I can go back and figure it out. We don't need to reiterate. It's fine. All right.
I
All right. Well, that'll wrap up. Yeah. Who knows at this point? That'll wrap up our worst quarterback draft. Next up, final segment of the show, we have our Week 12 against the spread picks.
Oh, shit.
To do a little recap from last week, let's see. I don't think it was a terrible week. Let's see. I'm pulling them up right now. So for Week 11, I led the pack. It's rare. Let's go. I had a 9-4-1 record.
Okay, nice.
Hollywood came in second at 8-5-1. Buzzsaw and Big E, y'all went 7-6-1. And then
Hey,
Dylan Davis
above
went
500.
6-7-1.
Fuck yeah.
Above 500, it's all that matters.
Fuck yeah.
All right. So Week 12 picks. Let me get this going here. So we will need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will need a 5. Is there 14 games this week?
Shit. Yeah. Are we gonna do that right now? Our picks?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna just pull it up real quick. Or actually, I guess do you have it pulled up, Cole? The spreads?
If you want to pull them up, you can.
Pulling them up. All right. I guess I could just read them off, because I'm just looking at it on a list. It's not the image or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just. Are you on Action Network?
I'm on Fox. No, is Action Network the one?
Yeah. Here, you're good. I got.
Okay,
pull up right here.
Gotcha.
All right. So Week 12, Thursday night, or we got Thanksgiving games. But first game, we got Bills at Lions. Bills are 9.5-point favorites. Lions are 9.5-point dogs.
Give me the Lions on Thanksgiving plus 9.5.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go that direction as well. It's in Detroit. So
Lions seem to always show up on Thanksgiving.
Been showing up of late in general.
They have. They are covering machines. Yeah. I'm gonna go Bills. I think.
You think this is the right to ship game?
I think they're due for a nuclear game here.
Yeah, because the Browns game really wasn't. I mean, they won handily, but that wasn't quite the ass kicking I was expecting. But,
yeah, they still. They still.
It didn't seem like they had it handled that whole game.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up, another Thanksgiving game. We have Giants at Cowboys. Giants are +9. Cowboys are -9.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go boys -9. I think we kick their ass.
Yeah, but y'all gave Kirk problems. Giants have a good O-line. Oh, I'm going Giants plus 9.5. Barely covering. I'm probably going to buy a point to make it 10, to be honest, whenever. But for this, I'll do.
So it's It's 9
9.
even,
I'll
so
probably
it's
still
listed
buy
at.
a point anyway, just to make it 10.
But for the pick, you're gonna pick them plus
Yeah,
9.
for the pick, I'll do plus
Okay.
9. I think they're going to try and keep the offense off the field if they can.
Okay.
Nah, I got the Cowboys in this. Cowboys -9.
Aaron's got the boys. All right, good
They're
deal.
winning big.
Next up, another Thanksgiving game, we have Patriots +3, Vikings -3. In Minnesota. This one's tough.
Give me Patriots +3.
I was thinking the same thing. I think they're going to give problems to that O-line.
Yep, give me Patriots +3. It's not a good matchup.
Yep, I'll take Patriots +3 as well.
Run the
And,
ball, keep the offense off the
man.
field. Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah, Aaron, also, too, I don't know if
The
you remember,
locks.
we pick a
Yep.
the locks. So whichever game you like the
I'm
most, declare that as your
definitely
lock.
thinking that maybe, but we'll see.
Okay.
+3.
All right, next up, we have the Ravens -4 at Jacksonville, which is +4.
I'm going to do that, and that's my lock.
Ravens
Yeah.
-4. Okay, I'm going to go Baltimore -4 as well.
Same here.
Okay, we're all in Baltimore. Big E picks Ravens as his lock. Okay, next on the slate, we have the Bucks traveling to Cleveland. Bucks are -3. Browns are +3. Last game for Jacoby Brissett starting, by the way.
So the Bucks are +3?
Bucks are -3.
Bucks are -3. Give me the Bucks. Give me the Bucks.
This one's probably going to be a push, I feel like.
I could see that. Yeah. I'm not confident in this one at all.
I'm not either. I'm going to go Bucks too, though. -3.
That's probably
I'm
a
actually
money
take the
line.
Browns on this.
Okay.
You're going to take
Yeah,
Cleveland?
I'm gonna take
Oh.
Cleveland. They're
Little
at
Jacoby
home.
Brisket,
Okay.
little victory hoorah, little
Yeah, going
end on
away
a good
parade.
note. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Bears are +5 at the Jets, which are -5.
Oh my God. Give me that.
This one
That feels like a
if
trap.
Justin Fields doesn't
Oh, that's right.
if Justin
That's
Fields doesn't
right.
play too,
Right.
it's a free switch. I'm gonna go Jets -5. I think of Joe Flacco, and I mean the Jets. Actually, I'm gonna go Chicago +5. Actually, I've been riding with them. I'm gonna keep riding with them.
I'm going +5, also assuming Justin Fields plays.
Okay.
Under that same pretense, I'm gonna go Chicago as well. I think they're gonna win.
Okay. Should be a very low-scoring game, if I do
Mhm.
imagine.
Probably.
Jets can't score at all. All right, next one. We have the Bengals as -1.5 at Tennessee, +1.5.
Ooh. Damn, that's basically just a pick 'em.
It's pretty much a pick 'em. I'm gonna go Tennessee +1.5.
Yeah, I like
think
what
they win
they
this
have the
game.
game plan to keep that firepower offense off the field.
I mean, Najee Harris just ran all over the Bengals as well. I don't see why Derrick Henry cannot.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going +0.5 Titans also.
I think if Jamar Chase was playing, obviously I'd probably pick Bengals then, but until he comes back.
I think they have said that he's projected to
Oh,
play.
really? Wow. That makes it tough then. Still his first.
Actually, that now that you say that, I'm switching to Cincy -1.5.
I'm
The
sticking.
Titans' pass defense
If
is
he's-
not good.
If he's gonna play, yeah, I'm gonna bet the Bengals then. I did not know that.
I'm sticking with the Titans. I think they got the perfect game plan, perfect style to
Okay.
fuck with them.
Next up, we have Texans +12 at Miami -12. I'm gonna go Miami -12. I think they steamroll Texans.
Yeah.
Who knows? Texans could easily backdoor cover there, though.
Give me my
That's such a
boys.
big spread.
Give me, it's too much.
You want the Zans?
It's too much. Too many points. Give me the Zans. Yeah, give me that.
I don't like that.
I don't like
Miami at all either. There, by the way.
I don't love the Zans there, but it's a lot of points. A lot of points.
Yeah, that's almost too big of a spread. I'm gonna go Texans as well in
You're
this.
going Houston? Okay. All right. Next up, we got Falcons are plus. Let's see. This one's like all over the board. Falcons are plus 4.5 against the Commanders at minus 4.5.
I'll do the Falcons plus 4.5 because of their pedigree of covering.
I think
I'm gonna roll with Heineke and the boys.
There you go. I think they win. Commanders or not the Falcons.
Actually, fuck, you're right. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
Falcons.
I
plus
think
4.5
Commanders
too.
win, but I
yeah,
think they're kind of coming off some highs right
I
now.
think it's a field
that's
goal
exactly
game.
what I was thinking, that they were gonna win by like a field goal or
Yeah.
Yeah,
late
you
game
get the
score or
field goal there
something.
with Atlanta. All right, we get next up. Wow,
What's this one? I'm curious.
Denver is minus 2.5 at Carolina plus 2.5.
Worst
Holy
game of the
shit.
week.
I'm gonna.
That's the
I
worst
have
game
to go
of the
Denver
year.
minus 2.5.
You would have to, right? I mean, they're just gonna feed
I think
Latavius,
you
I
have
guess.
to, but I'm gonna make that one my lock for the meantime as well. Denver minus 2.5.
Doing Denver minus 2.5 as well.
There's no reason
They
they
should
lose
not.
that
That
game.
should yeah.
Yeah,
This should be their best game of the year, to be honest.
I mean, if it's PJ Walker or Baker, I don't care who's starting. The Brown or the Panthers are going to get maybe like 10 to 13 points in this game, and the Panthers defense isn't good either. If Russell Wilson can't put up points on this team, I mean,
This should be his best
geez.
game of the year.
you would
Also
hope.
feels like a trap line, but every time I think it's a trap line, it doesn't work. Aaron, you going?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Denver. I mean,
Denver.
it's honestly so shitty that it's even this close. Honestly, to
I
speak the
know.
Denver
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Raiders are plus 3.5 at Seattle. Seattle's minus 3.5. I'm gonna go Las Vegas plus 3.5.
I think so too. They're kind of just they're playing for any sort of positives to end the season on. I'm going with that.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks kind of surprised people anyway this year.
Haven't been impressed with Raiders secondary as opposed to like they have Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. I don't know. I just
That's
feel like
literally it. Yeah, that's literally it though. Yeah.
the Seahawks are going to keep it rolling. So I'll roll the Seahawks on this.
All right.
Go Seattle.
Damn.
How many of these? I feel like we've done pretty good at mixing it up so far.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Let's
It's like
see.
if I have any glimmer of hope, I'm always.
Let's see. Right now, we are all on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh.
We're all on 5 of the same games.
Maybe not.
So 5 out of like 11.
Hey, it worked out
Not
last
terrible.
week though.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Did everyone have a winning record last week, right?
Dylan Davis was a game or a half game under, but besides
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. I say it worked then. Say it worked.
All right, next one. This line is all over the fucking board. Okay, yeah. Chargers are minus 3.5 at Arizona plus 3.5.
I can see that because of Kyler and stuff. And they just played. They play Sunday, or is it a night game?
It's a 3:05 game on Sunday.
Give me the Chargers. Yeah. Charger playoff hunting.
Chargers?
Yeah. What was it? 3?
3.5.
Fuck. I'll probably buy a point anyway, but for this, yeah, 3.5 Chargers.
Yeah, I don't think the Chargers looked bad last night. I'm gonna ride with them too.
Yeah, I am going to ride with the Chargers as well. I feel like I have a lot of favorites right now. Need some dogs in there. They're hungry. All right. Next up, we got the Rams at plus 14.5.
Oh my God.
At Kansas City. I'm going Kansas City minus 14.
Yeah, because Stafford's not
The Rams are
playing.
terrible.
Stafford's
Oh
not playing.
wow, John
He
Wolford.
just got concussed
Cup's
again.
out.
It'll be Perkins. It'll be Perkins.
Oh wow, that's
This might be an under game because I don't know if the Rams will score. So
I don't know.
so what was it? 14 or 14 and a half?
14.
Holy shit! Not even 2.
This has got to be one of the biggest lines of the
I'm
year.
definitely going to buy it to make it 2 touchdowns whenever I do that, but for sure the Chiefs. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I'm rocking with
That's
you.
worse than the
That's
Texans. I'm surprised by that.
crazy.
That's a horrible matchup to be without Stafford. Jesus Christ.
All right.
Handcuff.
Is there no buys this week? I don't think there's a buy this week.
Interesting.
Very interesting. All right, next up we have the Saints are plus 8.5 at the 49ers, minus 8.5.
Give me the
I'm
Niners.
rocking with the who dat? I'm rocking with the Saints.
I'm gonna go Saints too at plus 8.5.
I can see it. I'm going Niners, though. I feel like that's like a
Fair.
lot more than people would expect, kind of, or like a little more than they would expect. So I feel like it's a sign to do it.
It's fair.
Okay, next up we got Packers are plus 7 at Philly. Philly's minus 7.
I'll do the
At
Packs
Philly.
plus 7. I'm going to do the Packs plus 7.
I'm gonna go Philly minus 7.
I like the Packers on
Yeah,
this.
I'm gonna go Philly.
Eagles have not
both
looked
going
as good
Packers.
of late, so
They have not. They really have not.
but they could right the ship. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that game whatsoever, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going Packs though on that.
All right, and then the last game. Oh, there's not a Monday night game. There is a Monday night game. Steelers are plus 3 at the Colts. Colts are minus 3.
Ooh, I'll do Steelers plus 3.
I'm going to go Steelers plus 3 as well.
I think that
I think
Yeah.
that's I'm going to make Steelers plus 3 my
your lock. There you go. I got the Ravens minus
Yep.
4 is mine.
Are y'all all on Pitt plus 3?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Aaron, who do you guys your lock?
Honestly, leaning the way of the Steelers as well, but I think I'm gonna do Patriots plus 3.
That's a good one.
Patriots plus
Yeah.
3. Not a bad pick.
It's so crazy that the Vikings poor offensive line has to play the Cowboys and then the Patriots back to back. Like,
Yeah, and they got to go to Matthew
Yeah.
Judon.
So Cole, is your like
Yep,
is your
yep.
like is the PTA lock like basically whatever we do in here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I
Yeah, so
just like
PTA
realized that.
yeah.
I didn't know if that was like a parlay you made or if that was like I just realized where that.
Oh no, I've been betting them
Okay,
a lot.
gotcha.
The PTA locks.
Gotcha.
I won. So the last 2 I've lost, but the week before that I won $600 on
Holy
it.
fuck.
Yeah, because if you bet 100 on 3 spreads in a parlay, you'll win 6. It's plus 600.
Yeah.
So,
Fuck yeah.
but yeah, last week the locks went. Let's see. Out of 5 locks last week, they went 1-0, 101. What was Buzzsaw's lock? He didn't pick a lock. 201, 2-1. Locks went 2-1-1 last week.
Okay.
So on the winning
All
side.
right, yeah.
So
Okay, good shit.
all right, boys. Well, good shit. That'll about wrap it up. That'll wrap up episode 20 of Punch the Air. Y'all know where you can get us. You can get us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the whole 9. And I've said it once. I've
Come
said
on.
it twice. I've said it 3 times.
Say it
I'll
again.
hit that button.
Say it again.
For any 14-year-old that wants to go hop on the Patreon,
And do it.
be the first member to hop on the Patreon, pay $5, whatever it is, and we can argue why Kirk Cousins is better than Dak Prescott. I'd love that.
That'd be
But
great.
beyond that, boys, thank you all for coming on.
Sure.
Thank you.
Pleasure as always, and talk to y'all later.
Yep.
Bye bye.